and gentlemen, live from the broken down, low-rent, sleazy, double greasy pirate radio Nut Hut Studios, it's time for the very first ever Southern...
CPR Street Gang, this is all fighting. Standing by, over. CPR Street Gang, this is all fighting. Standing by, over.
Right now, it's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines...
Clocks run out. Time's up.
Wind is blowing cold and dark. On the road and no way out. Broken hearts, a smoking gun. On the run. On the run.
I smell something good in here.
What's that smell like, fish, mama? Do they really want to know? What's that smell like, fish, baby? Good if they really wants to know. Smell like pudding and it ain't on pie. Same thing that you know you have to buy. What's that smell like, fish? Good if they really want to know. I mean, good if they really want to know. Yeah.
What's the problem? Smells like fish in here.
What is that? What was that? Some sort of signal? Huh? Is that a signal?
No.
You wearing a wire?
No, it really does smell like fish in here.
You're a damn cop, ain't you? That's it. Show these guys what we do to cops.
Say hello to the devil for me.
It's Aftermath FM. It's Friday night. We got a smorgasbord of information to get into tonight. Do not miss this one, ladies and gentlemen. Rockin Rio is here, Reverse Perverse Circus a little bit later. But we've got some wild stuff going on. Into the Microcosm is on the out.
I know a lot of you come here, you watch TV, you wait every night for somebody to come on here and give you an answer for your lives, waiting for someone that'll come and say, hey, this is it. I don't have to settle for defeat anymore. I can rise up out of my routine. I can get a hold of myself. I don't have to lose. I can win. There's something inside me that's not going to let me go down anymore. But I'm not the guy. No, I don't have any answers for you. But I can tell you about one thing. Oh, yeah, you think you're safe, huh? You people over here, you think you're safe? Do you think you're safe? What's your name? Lou?
Hey, come on, take a ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slip it, slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sing. what you do, just stay alone. Now the dude's so funky, hey, what do you think? What is it called? It's called a lakeside stank. Come along and ride on a fantastic voyage. I'm the captain of this vessel. We wanna take you on a cruise all around the land. Music is at hand. We wanna play it.
Epic Journeyman. On your yacht.
I am here.
Excellent. Well, you're not looking worse for the wear. So you're not breathing any deadly gases that are reeking off the angry god volcano over on the Big Island, are you? You're not on the...
Pele's been good to me so far.
Right.
So far, so good. She's okay.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. And it's good to see you, man. You were gone last night. They worked you like a dog. And did we happen to be talking about working last night? You happen to be talking about labor. And sure enough, you were out slaving to the grind out in the middle of the jungle, in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning.
3 a.m. to go out and didn't get home till 13, 14 hours later. And then called. Then I got called back. I got home, then I got called back again.
It's insane, man. And, I've noticed an uptick in the amount of times you've been getting called. I mean, I'm not saying I'm monitoring it from a show perspective per se, but let me just say, I'm monitoring it from a emergency perspective. So I remember going through because you are, we won't say where, but you are involved in critical infrastructure. So the thing is I remember going through the pandemic, there was really no emergencies for you. You kind of were solid like a rock, not like soft like sock, but solid like rock. And now, ever since, I don't know, about 3 months ago, it's like almost, there was like a moment where everything changed on the island over there. It was like right when you went on vacation, you went on vacation. Okay, you left the islands unattended. The Epic Journeyman left the building over there, and as soon as you left, everything went wild. It went to shit. As soon as you came back, boom! They got Epic. We need you to go over to this island. Epic, go back to that island. Epic, you need to go here. Epic, go back over there. Epic, now you got to go back to your main island, which is the Big Island, which is where your main house is. You got to go check on it, don't you? Because there's activity over there.
That's true. I gotta make sure the earthquake didn't damage. I got a leaky kitchen faucet. It's not the faucet like we're talking like at home when a drip. No. It's leaking under the house and onto the floorboards. And I'm an elevated. It's called pure and post construction. Yeah. So this is actually my floor getting saturated with water that I walk on every day. Right.
Is your uncle still there?
What's that? He is, but he's too old to get under there and mess around. He puts pots down there, but it's leaking faster than the pots. You take care of it. So.
It's always something, It's always something, man. And you know what? And then it's something else.
Hey, now it's a mambo Italiano, mambo Italiano, go Joe. You mixed up Siciliano, or you calibrate to do the mambo like crazy and mambo. Don't mambo Italiano, try an enchilada with a fish of bacalao and
hey Goomba.
Hey Goomba.
You look like you're carrying a little extra baggage under your eyes there, man. You've been working deep into the night, haven't you?
I have.
I know, ladies and gentlemen, stand by, because let me just say, not only, and I don't mean to screech into the microphone, but not because I'm excited. Not only is Rockin Rio's Reverse Perverse Circus the most intense reverse speech analyzing that goes on. Hats off to the main man, Mr. Oates. Let's just say Rockin Rio has taken it to a new level. You might even say he's made a fucking career out of it. And let me
I don't know if I'd go that far.
Oh, well, I'm saying it. I'm saying it because let me guess what? One of our heroes from back in the day has gone into space, ladies and gentlemen. Your favorite. He's 90 years old, ladies and gentlemen. He's still there, and he just went into space. And Rockin Rio. I don't know if you should let on to what you found, because I want to say it's one of the most revealing reverse speech investigations I've ever heard you do. But I want to say we can talk about something else in reverse because it has to do with some of the other things we're going to be talking about too. But why don't you whet the appetite of the listeners before they go sailing off into the sunset and let them know why they should stick around, because I think it was an important conversation in reverse that old William Shatner was giving us there.
Yeah, he was talking about the system a little bit and, the ball we live on. And, he actually says something about encouraging the morphing of DNA and that Satan is loose.
Yes.
Which, is fascinating. But, the references to the space part of it, like there's two separate little sections I came up with out of what he was doing. And
one of the reasons
it's interesting. It really is interesting.
One of the reasons
It's the first time I've looked at Captain Bill.
Well, one of the reasons that we decided to put the end of the microcosm microscope on it and focus and magnify this conversation was because I became aware of a particular interview he did with a couple of ladies where he was talking about the global catastrophe. And
there wasn't actually anything in that little section. That area didn't really say much, but he did reference the catastrophe is coming.
He said
it. Yeah. That's all he said.
Yeah,
with the upcoming catastrophe.
Yeah.
So what is he referring to?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's some of what we're going to get into tonight because I became aware of an intense conspiracy theory that's floating around on the internet, and because I saw that. I went around kind of sniffing around at some of the buzzwords that I pulled out of the thing that I saw. And lo and behold, I actually found something that was interesting. And then what was really interesting was I found this other thing today about some religious sect that was predicting a particular event. And it was saying that when that event happened, that it was going to be in control of the Christian churches across the planet, which I found really interesting. Now, all of this seems to be coinciding. It's all like in this Rocktober, because we've been seeing a lot of different things going on with the sun, for example, and just all kinds of things going on. And for whatever reason, we see this Canary Islands volcano going off. Intense earthquakes, or I shouldn't say intense earthquakes, but earthquakes have been intensifying in magnitude. Lava flowing through, and there's been a lot of predictions about this. You can go look at the models from the breakdown of that particular volcano. So, if it was to happen, it would be, devastating for a lot of people in different places. I think there's like an 80-foot tidal wave that hits Africa, but by the time it hits the East Coast, it's something to 50, 60 feet, something like that, which would be devastating to you, Rockin Rio. But we found out that there's something that's called, DARPA had something that's called transparent Earth. Did you guys look into that, Rockin Rio? And well, you know what, man? You know what I forgot? Damn, how could I forget? Bruce Macdonald. Are you there? I see you there, but I cannot hear you there.
I'm present.
There you go, man. There you are. Well, welcome, brother. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Hi, Rio.
Hey,
Bruce.
so listen, Monte Dean has been missing in action for 3 weeks now. And so we're hoping he's okay. I don't know. Have you heard from Monte Dean recently?
Yeah, I talk to Monty about every 2 or 3 days.
Uh-huh.
He's just kind of locked down there, bunkered down in Australia, you know. He's got a lot of family responsibilities, you know, with his mom and dad. And, you know, he's just trying to keep his head above water. It's pretty intense down there.
Yeah. Well, good. Good to hear that he's going good. I was a little bit worried about him just simply because he hadn't checked in, so I wasn't sure if he was going to be here tonight. And I'm glad to hear that he's okay. Him being here tonight is secondary to taking care of his family, because I mean this is an important thing to be doing at any given moment, and make sure we all. I mean, I make sure that that's one of my main functions in life, is to make sure my family's doing good. And then you guys are my family, the internet family here on Aftermath FM, around the world, coast to coast. Bruce in Costa Rica, Epic Journeyman's in Hawaii, Rockin Rio's on New York. I'm here. You're there. Now, Transparent Earth, did you have a chance to take a look at that, Epic Journeyman?
Actually, I didn't look. I looked a little bit into what was sent the other day, but I had actually had some personal experience with this. One of the first internet searches I ever did that got me a little bit of trouble. I was at my sister's place back in the late 90s, and, you know, before days of broadband. And I heard about this satellite, and it was scanning the Earth. And I was like, well, what's this all about, right? And it ended up being this satellite called Odin. And ostensibly, it's a weather satellite. It's like looking for variations in the, you know, surface of the sea, rising and falling, stuff like that. But I started looking into it, and I ended up stumbling upon accidentally a memo between the Air Force and these other people out of all places. They're using a protocol called Heimdall in Norway. So it's Norwegian intelligence in the Air Force, right? So I ended up copying these schematics and all these other things. And what it was is this network of satellites that was being put up there could detect things. They were up to 2 to 3 miles underground. Right? And that's what this is. This transparent we're talking about, I think it says it's 3 kilometers, something like that. What I was reading was like 2 miles. So about the same thing.
Well,
this is in the 90s, yeah.
Here, let me just jump in here and I'll just read some of this. This is from Wired magazine, so this is not secret, ladies and gentlemen, but it ties into that volcano, and I'm gonna tell you why in a minute, because this is why I even found out about it, because I wasn't even aware of it, but somebody referenced this in reference to that volcano, and about a week ago, I saw something that was kind of fun to click on. It had some fun. It was a thread, and there was some really fun information in there. And part of the information was that there was this place you could go for $1 million, and it was a bunker where you could survive. And it cost $1 million. If you paid up, once the money had, you know, cleared, you would get a coin. And this coin will get you in the door. And there's a date on the coin that said October 24th, 2021. So I found it interesting. There just seemed to be a lot of these weird things coming up and intersecting for some reason. So here, let me just, like I said, this isn't secret. With DARPA's Transparent Earth, underground doesn't mean out of sight. The Pentagon Science Fringe has been trying to lord over the natural elements for years now. They've talked about planet hacking and screwing with enemy climates, and they still want to harness the power of lightning. This year, military science has a more of an all-encompassing goal for the global mastery. As part of its budget for this Transparent Earth, and this is a DARPA project. The Pentagon Science Fringe has been trying to lord over blah, 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 blah. This year, military science has more than an all-encompassing goal for global mastery. As part of its budget for an upcoming fiscal year, the Pentagon's Extreme Research Agency launching a Transparent Earth project. They'll invest $4 million in the creation of a real-time 3D maps that display physical, chemical, and dynamic properties of the Earth down to 5 kilometers of depth. At first, the idea doesn't sound at all that impressive, but the Earth is more than 3,500 miles deep from crust to core, and so DARPA's plan would literally just scratch the surface. But geologists and geophysicists still know very little about the day-to-day goings-on underground, even at a depth as shallow as 5 kilometers, 3.1 miles. The deepest drilling of the planet was the Soviet hole on Kola Peninsula, which took 19 years and made it around 7.5 miles into the crust. NASA still uses land-based GPS signals to predict volcanic eruptions rather than a mega drill. DARPA wants to harness innovations in sensor technology to develop a consistently updating model of planetary activity. They'll use sensors to detect natural indicators of substantive activity and to take advantage of the mathematical algorithm designed to estimate various natural earthly phenomena, including geophysical turbulence and shifting tectonic plates. Algorithms are already used in planetary mapping and predictive science, but adding high-tech sensors would provide a constant, consistent stream of new data. And that kind of accuracy could have serious planetary implications. Changes in the Earth's crust can explain and predict volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and even formation of mountain ranges. So it looks like they've successfully combined the sensors and mathematics to, and this article is from the Wayback Machine. So this is way back in 2018. So what do you guys think about that? Now, we'll talk about this volcano in a moment. But what do you guys think about that?
Well, I think that's exactly what I described. Yeah, exactly. So that's I didn't realize this is what it was going to end up being. I kind of had the suspicion because the non-classified reason for that satellite network of satellites being in existence was to measure difference in sea state and predict hurricanes. In other words, it's a weather satellite, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it can actually detect people in bunkers 2 miles underground. That's the other side of it, right? So,
yeah.
So there's that, right? So these people think they're going to hide in their bunkers. Got news for you, right? But what it really is it's the scanner from Star Trek, isn't it? Like when the Enterprise went to orbit and went around the planet, and Scotty, or not Scotty, it'd be whoever, Sulu, give me the scan, and he'd have the it's got just kind of atmosphere, and it's got, large quantities of gold, and it's got magnesium and all this other stuff, right? It's the scanner.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you, there's going to be a lot of technology in this show, and right now I'm trying to dig back here because I want to go to this thing. Now, here's a weird thing, okay? This just showed up, okay? I don't know the validity of it. I've never seen this before. I've never heard of this board. This is a posting board. Never heard of it. Okay, but it's got a Celtic symbol on it, and it's called the Christianity board. It says, "Loving people, living community." That's the name of this. Okay, so it says on here, listen, breaking news. Mysterious group claims authority over all Christian churches. Okay? And it says the Shibboleth group has announced that Rome will be destroyed by the eruption of the La Palma volcano. Now they have announced authority over the Christian churches. And here's and this is what it says. Above the video, it says shocking video. So, of course, it's into the microcosm, and we're getting close to the top of the hour. So, of course, it says shocking video, so we're going to play the video. Now, like I say, I am not vouching for any of this, but I'm just bringing it to the table because we're talking about that volcano going off over there. Oh, we, oh, whoa, hum.
The Shibboleth Group announces. The Shibboleth Group announces that La Palma volcano is described in the Bible as the flaming sword that turns in every direction. The volcano is the sword that will destroy Rome, as described in the Third Secret of Fatima, and its purpose is to clear the way for the establishment of the kingdom of God. Many nations will be destroyed during this event. Do your preparations. Have a good day. My name is Thomas from the Shibboleth Group. In this video, I will tell you what you need to know about this event. 6,000 years ago, the man was expelled from paradise because he made a pact with Satan. So the man would receive knowledge to become like gods and to live forever. In exchange, he would worship Satan as his god. Year 2020. The coronavirus pandemic arrives. The pandemic is a message. The humanity is corrupted. Then appears the COVID vaccine, which is the mark of the beast. Those who receive the vaccine begin to worship Satan openly. They now can live forever under the protection of science and knowledge. Let's see what the Bible says. So he drove out the men, and he placed at the east of the garden of Eden cherubims, and a flaming sword which turned every way, to keep the way of the tree of life. Those who took the mark of the beast have now validated or consummated the pact that was made at the Garden of Eden with Satan. Now that the pact is a reality, comes the punishment. To prevent men
This Aftermath FM. Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, Millie Fallon, Clyde Lewis, Ground Zero Team. You'll find us here.
It's getting so lonely inside this bed. To know if I should lick my wounds or say it was me instead. There's an aching inside my head. It's telling me you're better off alone. But after midnight, morning will come. Every day we'll see if you went get some. They say that girl, you know she acts too tough, tough, tough. Well, it's gonna turn off the light, turn off the light. They say that girl, you know she acts so rough, rough, rough. Well, it's gonna turn off the light, turn off the light. I say, follow me, follow me, follow me down, 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 down till you see all my dreams. Not everything in this magical world is what
Don't regret growing old. It's a privilege denied to many. Heart disease is taking our youth from us. Young people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond are dying needlessly. One of the hardest messages I've ever had to deliver is to convince people that something natural like Extendovite should be taken as a preventative measure. I'm sure you heard an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Extendovite is that ounce. Take Extendovite for 1 year and see what your doctor has to say and how much better you feel. Herbs take time to address the problem. It took years of life to have a problem. Give Extendovite 1 year to fix the problem. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com or visit us on Amazon.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Looks like the wild and free-range Australian is checking in. Would you mind adding him to the call, Rockin Rio? Monte Dean is here. It's Aftermath FM. My name's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. We're talking about it tonight. Wild smorgasbord of intersecting conspiracy theories flying around all over the internet. Who knows what's going to happen? But I'll tell you this. If I were you, if it's legal where you are and you have some, smoke them if you got them. It's Aftermath FM.
Do you have the time? Do you think of my heart? You're so high. Do you think of my heart? Do you have the time? Do you think of my heart? Do you think of my heart? My heart. Do you think of
Monte Dean, have you beamed aboard?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, I have.
Well, I'm so happy to hear your voice because I tell you right now, with all the shit that's been going on down under, I've been actually kind of been wondering about you, man. Wondering if you...
Dingo stole our Monty. Dingo stole Monty.
That is the worst Australian accent I've ever heard.
I wasn't even trying to do Australian.
I know, that's why it's the worst Australian accent I've ever heard.
Did you know Uma Abedin? Did you know Uma Abedin was there when that or it's not her, it's the girl that does the spirit cooking ceremony cakes that looks like spirit cooking. She was there when the dingo ate that baby. What are the odds, dude? What are the odds when the baby got eaten by the dingo? She was there. What are the odds, man? What are the odds? But what are the odds that you're here? Is everything going okay for you, man? No knocking on the doors. Get off that internet. Because I was kind of thinking, man, maybe they went over and knocked. Monty, you better keep quiet on the internet. You know, they blacked you out.
No. I'm a clown, so they just ignore me, which is good. That's all part of my cunning plan. I hide in comedy, and so it's like, oh, he's just being silly. Of course I am.
You decided to get into alternative information and disappear off the face of the earth with shadow banning and everything. I mean, if you want to disappear, ladies and gentlemen, start a radio show and talk about the truth. You'll disappear faster than you can say fucking Jack Robinson.
Yeah, family members. So what are you doing? I'm still doing my radio show. I've been doing it for 5 years. Thanks for the support.
Well, listen, we got a whole bunch of shit we're getting into tonight, and let me just fill you in. And it's for the new people that have just joined us. Let me just let you know. So right now, what we've gotten into is something that's called Transparent Earth. It's a DARPA project, and it's in this call, so you can click on it and check it out. But there's been a conspiracy theory floating around that this volcano is going to go off. And there's been movements, troop movements, all kinds of weird little intersecting things. And now there's all of a sudden a post that came up by the Shibboleth group. It's here. Let me just restart this here. Let me let you hear this first few minutes of this here.
The Shibboleth group announces. The Shibboleth group announces that La Palma volcano is described in the Bible as the flaming sword that turns in every direction. The volcano is the sword that will destroy Rome, as described in the third secret of Fatima. And its purpose is to clear the way for the establishment of the kingdom of God. Many nations will be destroyed during this event. Do your preparations.
Okay, so, that's pretty intense. Now, I got to say, from trying to sniff out what may or may not be going on with this video, here's what I first noticed is the guy that's making this video, that voice sounds ghostly familiar to me in some way, and for whatever reason, the voice and the story of the Puerto Rican preacher who said he saw a meteor hitting the ocean guy that was around for a while. He had a specific date in mind, and that date came and went, and so he disappeared. But this voice reminds me of it. But irrespective of that, because we're just drawing some parallels to this volcano now. With this transparent Earth technology, Rockin Rio, Epic Journeyman, Monte Dean, Bruce Macdonald. Before we move further, because now this has a lot to do with satellite technology, and that has a lot to do with what we're going to be talking about in a moment. But this video here, ironically, is also synchronistic with some of the stuff that Rockin Rio has uncovered in respect to the current experiment that's going on and the partaking in that experiment and the stuff that's been said in reverse in relation to this concept of the mark of the beast that you're hearing a lot of people describe across the plain here. And but before we get there, as a matter of fact, let me ask you this, Epic Journeyman. With this particular technology, you're predicting something based on, algorithmic projections of potentialities. And so what I'm going to ask you is, now with a energy beam or a directed energy weapon or some sort of a floatable harp-like device that is on the ocean, would it potential to aggravate I'm just saying potentially, like from conceptual, not saying this is what's happening, but what I'm saying is conceptually, if I was going to offer this up and I was doing research and all I had was 4 million, okay, when I wanted the 100 million, is that where I'd go, well, see, then, we can also add this component to where we can actually direct energy and inflame natural events that we know from a potentiality are about to take place. So we really don't have to do too much to push something over the edge. For example, we talk a lot about the caldera here in America, but irrespective of that Yellowstone caldera, we have also this volcano going off. So Epic Journeyman, directed energy weapon in conjunction with this transparent Earth. What conceptually are the potentials for causing an event to an already inflamed Earth? Go ahead.
Well, the key there is directed energy, right? And the key to any weapon is being accurate. And the way to be accurate is to know where to fire your weapon. So you have to know where your target is. That's been my job forever back in the day, right? It was chasing submarines around, right? Find them. You got to find them first and know where they're at, right? Well, this we were talking earlier about this ability to see things miles underground. Well, that enables you to see the magma chambers actually moving, the actual magma, liquid magma itself, moving under the Earth's crust. It allows you to actually see the weak stress points in the tectonic plates. It enables you to actually see, where to target something. So it's not necessarily the technology is being used to make it happen. Potentially, you can't use it if you don't know where to deploy it. But this gives you the ability to see. It's like an X-ray for the Earth.
Okay, so let's say it's an X-ray for the Earth, and then there's this really cool solar energy platform that Pacific Gas and Electric has, where they collect solar energy in space, and they beam it down to America. Get us some fresh solar power coming down. So, from a satellite perspective, would you say that it's possible to beam energy from space? The type of energy that, say, would be invisible to the naked eye. Because it's in a spectrum that we don't see with our eye.
Well, that's absolutely possible. In fact, that's one of the original proposals going back before they even invented lasers, was using a maser, microwave amplification through stimulated emission radiation maser, right, to use satellites collecting solar power and then use a maser as a beam to direct energy back down to the Earth and then use it to boil water and move steam turbines or however you want to use it, right? and you wouldn't be able to see it. And in fact, the lasers that are used as our most powerful weapons today, that are being mounted at aircraft and tanks now and in the future are being tested, are completely invisible. You can't see them. All you see things blowing up, or people with their eyes blowing out of their head, right? I mean, it sounds gross, but that's exactly the way it would happen. You don't see like the War of the Worlds, or Star Wars, green and red laser beams flying all over the place. Not like that at all.
No,
So
it's not as
completely invisible.
yeah, and I mean, if you're putting a movie together, it's more intense to see a beam going across and seeing some guy's head blow up, rather than it just blowing up for no reason. You got to have a reason in a movie, and building that storyline. We go back to Iraq, and we have reports of people being found, literally with holes scorched through their skulls, and their wounds were cauterized from the intense whatever it was that went through their skulls, and people saw green beams flying all around the desert. Epic Journeyman. You ever heard any of the rumors of the green beams flying around the desert?
I haven't heard rumors, but I do know the tests that were done with the real lasers. But I don't know if they actually deployed them.
Yeah,
over
let's
there.
talk about that. So what about these tests with these lasers? Now, these lasers can cut literally right through a car like it's butter, right?
Yeah, well, the lasers you see like on YouTube videos and stuff that are unclassified, they allow you to see, aren't what they really are. There was a 60-minute special done years and years ago that allowed some of it to be seen. There's different kinds of lasers. There's obviously the direct beam. There's also called pulse lasers that they pulse them like 1 million times a second. And so when they hit something, let's say tank armor, with that same, whether it be kilowatts or megawatts of energy, it does a lot more damage. One of the things they use to make it cut through the atmosphere and be more accurate is they send one laser first to actually take the atmospheric interference out of the way,
I see.
right? To make, and then use that as imagine like the paper towel roll, right?
Yeah,
It gets the clouds out of the way, and now you got an accurate shot, and that through that hole you just cut through
Right.
with your real laser.
Is this kind of like these torpedoes that have a little bit of air pushing out the stuff out of the way in front of them? These ultrasonic.
Yeah, in a way, yeah, exactly. So one of the things I worked on, I didn't work on, I just provided the power for them, was and did some troubleshooting when some other things when things went down for the equipment. But these things that we were working on, my whole company, I mean, they're going to mount them on airplanes and on tanks and on drones, and they're really powerful, man. I mean, they are really powerful. They make schematics and show these like impressive things for tours of them blowing up tanks and stuff. But what they're really good at is killing people. I mean, because there's no armor, body armor, nothing you can do. It's a perfect assassination weapon because you can't see it. But yeah, it could shoot down planes, missiles, whatever.
Do you remember a couple years ago, Clyde Lewis was doing a show, and because he did that show, it kind of got me thinking about something, because Clyde Lewis was doing a show. There was a CIA whistleblower who called up, and he said that CERN was linked to all of these observatories, and there was a way to take the telescopes and use them to disturb the sun and to cause CMEs. And that was what that whole thing was about when they said they caught some guy with porn or whatever, and they closed
They
down the
evacuated
town.
the whole town.
Yeah.
The whole town. It's New Mexico. It was New
Right.
Mexico or Colorado. It was
Exactly.
New Mexico.
So right. So remember now. So when we got onto that, because we were listening to Clyde, and then we jumped onto it, and then we started looking into the potentiality of turning a telescope around, and it turns out that is not a potentiality. That is a reality. And level 3 is somebody that makes and sells something that is akin to what we're talking about there. So I think we've laid enough groundwork and established that the potentiality for the ridiculous conspiracy theory that was put forth on a board about the agitation of this volcano and causing a certain thing to happen on a certain day, and the fact that there's a coin that costs $1 million with the date of October 24th on it, and the fact that with the advent of satellite technology that we have today, and then we hear this random Christian message board, and this message comes up that is intense. Okay, so let's for a moment. I want to shift away from the eruption of that volcano, because there's some other parts of this particular video I want to get to. I'm gonna let this play out a bit. Rockin Rio, be ready to come in, because you had taken and putting your finger on the pulse of something, and you had found some runes. Number one, the rune. Number two, you found a video that had some very interesting interactions going on, and that put us onto a whole separate thing called, well, we'll get into it, but I'm going to play this video again, and I'm going to let this play out. Everybody here, it's in the microcosm. It's Aftermath FM. It's not your granddaddy's late night.
Have a good day. My name is Thomas from the Shibboleth Group. In this video, I will tell you what you need to know about this event. 6,000 years ago, the man was expelled from paradise because he made a pact with Satan. So the man would receive knowledge to become like gods and to live forever. In exchange, he would worship Satan as his god. Year 2020. The coronavirus pandemic arrives. The pandemic is a message. The humanity is corrupted. Then appears the COVID vaccine, which is the mark of the beast. Those who receive the vaccine begin to worship Satan openly. They now can live forever under the protection of science and knowledge.
Rockin Rio. Are you there?
I am here.
Okay. Now, let's back that thing up, like they say, like those young whippersnappers say. Let's back that thing up, man. Now, you've done quite a few reverse speech pieces over this last 6 months or so. And there's been a lot of references to the injectable.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, I mean, it's stretched out over a period of time. So people have, literally forgotten a lot of what's been said in reverse by some of these main characters running the script. And so why don't you jump in here and tell everybody what you found here and how it correlated with what work you've done in the reverse perverse circus. Jump in and let's get the listeners going. I've got the video here ready to play whenever you're ready to go. But start talking a little bit about it, and Epic Journeyman, be ready to go into the next phase. And Bruce Macdonald, Monte Dean, take a listen to Rockin Rio. Rockin Rio, what the hell did you find over here, man?
Well, it's a little complicated, actually.
It
No,
is.
it's not really complicated. It's got a lot of pieces to it.
It does. Go slow. Go slow. We got all night.
I just want to preface this with, if it defames Canada in any way, I'm going to censor.
Okay.
Given that William Shatner is Canadian.
Well, listen.
No, it doesn't have anything to do with Shatner in Canada at this point.
It has to do with everything. Though. This is the
but it
whole
does
ball of wax,
eventually.
ladies and gentlemen. This is the ball of wax. So we've been telling you, COVID stands for Certificate of Vaccination ID. The question to the world order is, how do we identify every person on the face of this earth? Okay, this is how they want to do it. And this is how they're trying to do it. And it turns out Rockin Rio has found a key component. ID 2020, if you're sitting at a computer, do a Google search while we start to get into this. ID 2020, look it up. Go ahead, Rockin Rio. Let them have it with what you found.
All right, so we'll start with that. ID 2020 was basically a joint effort between Microsoft and several of the big pharma companies to combine the jab with implantable microchips to be able to insert microchips. Now, part of this technology that I've come across too is it almost goes into the whole black goo thing with self-replicating nanobots and self-assembling processing and stuff like that. It's a really bizarre thing, but it ties into Bluetooth and 5G as well, because these self-replicating nanobots and this technology can be activated and triggered through 5G and through Bluetooth networks. And what they do is once you take the stab in the arm, you have the materials in there for this. And this is what the multiple boosters are all about, is actually building up different components of this structure. So what happens is when you get beamed with the certain radio frequency, it will activate, part A and part B, and then certain time later on, you get a different frequency code, and it will join A and B into a new structure like C. And eventually, this will build a very similar to the RFID chip in your phone. It will build a RFID chip in your body. It's really bizarre, and it's mind blowing how they've actually done it. But they're using genetic coding and nanotech to do this, which is it's mind blowing. But
well, let's tie it in with Mastercard now. Mastercard jumped in with Microsoft to develop an ID system. This is positive ID. This is like for Mastercard is partnered with NMI and Global Payments Incorporated to launch their first live cloud tap on phone pilot with Computer Engineering Group, CEG, of Napa, California, based independent service provider. Cloud Tap on Phone is one of MasterCard's innovative next-generation acceptance products with software hosted by Microsoft's Azure cloud platform. MasterCard's been spearheading the transition to contactless payments for years. The demand for faster, more convenient, safe, and now cleaner ways to pay has driven the transition to contactless, and it's a one-way street with touch-free experience expected to be permanent for consumers and businesses even after the pandemic ends. In fact, the third quarter of 2020, contactless penetration represented 41% of in-person purchase and transactions globally, up from 37% the second quarter and 30% a year ago. So this is what Mastercard has got, the chips in the credit card where you can wave it over the scanner. I mean, obviously you have Apple Pay on your phone is almost like a test run for this whole system. Right.
And now we have, self-assembling graphene oxide chips that can be read in the same way that the Apple Pay chip in your phone works.
Mm-hmm.
So now you don't even have to pull your phone out to do it. You just have to get close enough to the scanner to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And this video that I had come across was basically somebody had assembled a bunch of videos from around the internet from different countries. So some of them are in, obviously in different languages and stuff, of people walking around now. And this has become a thing. We've all heard about people being able to stick magnets to their arms and stuff. But now, with the current generation of Bluetooth, you can walk up to somebody who's gotten this, and you can see their serial number on your phone, and it will try to connect to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
and,
now hold it right there.
This is where this is getting real creepy now.
Well, hold it right there. Because now let's build a little bit of, let's get the jury a little bit of background. So now there's something, ladies and gentlemen, that's called proximity detection. Now this is something that I personally installed in stores years ago, and what this is this means that when you come into my store, I can scan the store for cell phone signals that come in, and I can proximity detect you when you come in, and I'll know what your cell phone number is. And from your cell phone number, I can figure out who you are. And once I figure out who you are, when you walk by my screen on the aisle 6, I know that last time when you came here, you bought Alpo dog food. So this time when you walk by, I'm going to show you an ad from Pedigree. That's called proximity detection. Now, let's just take that as a basis of understanding and move into where we are. Where we are now is You don't need to be a store to proximity detect anymore. You can be a proximity detector in and of it by yourself with your own personal cell phone, which you're going to be doing. Because in the future, see, you're going to be able to tell, and we're not even by what we're talking about here, because this, what we're telling you here, is something completely different, and it's totally going on. There's not a question in my mind about it. But even if you didn't believe what we're saying here, just in the very having of a cell phone and you not being partaking of the experiment and you don't have proof, you don't have your QR code, all the other cell phones around you will notice you because you don't have it. You're not going, here I am, here I am, here I am. Well, you are, but you're saying, here I am, and I'm a dirty rat, bubonic plague spreading, useless eater. That's not part of your world that you don't have to worry about anymore because you're on the new internet, aren't you? You're on, what is it now? It's called IPv6. See, the old rickety, shitty internet where all the refuseniks are, that's IPv4 over there. But if you've taken the experiment, well, now, you're on IPv6. It's right here at the bottom of the hour. My name is Jimmy. It's Into the Microcosm. When we get back, we're really gonna, are you ready to magnify this? And we'll bring the video evidence in too. And I want Epic Journeyman jump in here on IPv6 and IPv4 so people understand there's a difference between. We're gonna be right back. It's Aftermath FM.
Sitting in a old Monte Carlo, a man whose heart is hollow. Take it easy. I'm not trying to go against you. Actually, I'm going with you. Gotta get up out of here and you will leave me behind. I know you won't, cause we share common interest. You need me, there ain't no leaving me behind. Never know.
I'm telling you right now, if you're on death row, you would definitely want me to make your closing argument for you.
We could be the runaways, running from in this side of love. Yeah. There ain't nothing here for me. There ain't nothing here for me anymore. But I don't wanna be alone.
It's Aftermath FM, the underground, the after party, and the alternative to the alternative. Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, right here. You can find us Into the Microcosm, the elusive unicorn of late night. It's not your granddaddy's late night. Yeah, straight talk, whatever, dude. I've been straight talking for 10 years on the internet. Come on back.
Gotta get up out of here, you will leave me behind. I know you won't, cause we share common interest. You need me, there ain't no leaving me behind. Never know, no, both fall out of here, yeah. Once big on, ain't no going back. If you want, we could be runaways, running from in this side of love. Yeah, there ain't nothing.
It happens more often than we can imagine. In my case, I was sitting at home, and out of nowhere, I just started feeling uncomfortable. Then it got worse, and I started perspiring. I tried to ignore it, but I waited too long. The chest pain came as we were driving to the hospital emergency. I felt my life clock begin to tick. I barely survived. There was lots of damage done to my heart. What do I do now? I was lucky. I took a leap of faith and tried a 7-herb formula with hawthorn, garlic, cayenne, and more called Extendovite. Herbs have been used for thousands of years to keep us healthy. If you're not using Extendovite as a preventative supplement, maybe it's time to start. To order, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Aftermath FM. It's Joywave. Dangerous. Big data. Here they come out of the shadows. It's Aftermath FM. We're talking about it tonight. We're talking about the etheric identification of individuals. How do you mark and identify 10 billion people?
Well, that's the whole thing with the new Bluetooth protocol and the 5G protocol.
That's right.
And the IPv6 protocols, because they are far expanded. They're basically hexadecimal pairs, and each pair is considered an octet, and there's 256 variations per pair, right? So now each octet can also do 255. On Bluetooth 5, you can do 255 octets. So now you're into the quadrillions of possible combinations, which is far beyond the capacity we need to identify every person and device that's on the planet at this point. And part of the other thing with there's a lot to the whole Bluetooth part of this that adds up, because Bluetooth 5, actually specifically 5.2, which came out, which started being implemented in January 2020, not only has the larger package availability, essentially the message, the digital message, but it also has the ability to do frequency hopping, and is compatible with the 5G cellular network. And it also has slot availability masking, which means that basically you can, read 10 people in a proximity to a certain scanner, and keep them all separate and know who exactly everybody is and where they're going and what they're doing.
Can I ask you a question now? Is this similar to what we used to have available to us with our home phones? We used to be able to buy a technology called spread spectrum. And this was the kind of phone where it would hop back and forth and no one could listen to your conversations, but they got rid of those phones. So they don't use that anymore, so anyone can listen to your home wireless phone. Is this kind of like that? Because I think this makes sense, because what they want to do is they want to, Epic Journeyman, you're here too on this, they want to forge you a secure path for your blockchain.
Exactly, yes. And the other major advancement with the Bluetooth 5.2 is the distance that you can be tracked at now. And we've all seen this with our little Bluetooth headphones that you connect. You get 10, 20 feet away and they disconnect, right? But now the Bluetooth 5 can do 240 meters.
Well, this is starting to come into focus now, because Epic Journeyman was banging the gong about this Amazon thing, the neighborhood thing, or whatever the hell it's called, where if you didn't opt out, it was going to make your house part of the network. So everywhere there's a device that's transmitting at this point, we've allowed and given permission for those devices to network to each other without our consent or even knowledge. Because without the right equipment, you don't even know what frequencies are flying around your house. So
that's right.
At this point, you could literally, your TV could be the master router for like 20 different Bluetooth or infrared devices in your house that you don't even know are there. There could be a device inside of your Amazon Listen to Me device. There could be another device in there that's operating subsonically that you don't even know is there. Go ahead, you guys.
Okay, look, I want to say something. I want to add something to the conversation.
Please.
That will be simultaneously relieving for a lot of people and disturbing for another group of people, okay? Now, this phenomenon is not global. The pandemic is global in terms of what they're saying in the news, and the people in Central America.
But, hell, hold on. You just broke up. You broke up for a minute. We didn't hear anything you said. So say everything you just said again.
Okay. So, first of all, this isn't global. There are no magnets. There are no spoons sticking to people magnetically. Where are all these videos coming from? They're coming from the U.S., aren't they? They want to track and monitor people, but it's not global. They don't give a shit what hole in the ground you shit in Africa or Central America.
Right.
This you guys got to get your head around this. This is fucking focused on you guys, the Five Eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I've seen it come out.
This
I've
is
seen it
this
from
is
Australia too.
Australia, good.
Well, they're part of the Five Eyes.
Right. So he's right. He's
okay.
Doesn't this kind of remind you of the red pill coach red pill? In a way.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. So, I just before I got on your show tonight, Jimmy, I had an hour-long conversation with the most medically astute person I know personally. She's I would describe her as a master healer. She once applied a local anesthetic to her own abdomen and cut out a tumor.
Jesus.
Okay. She's self-operated. You think Rambo is tough?
That's tough.
Sewing up his. Yeah. No. This woman is next level. Okay. And she's the most informed person I know on the vaccine and everything. And look. There's something very specific about what's going on in the world right now. Okay. And we habitually refer to this about controlling the world and this, and it isn't. It's about controlling the first world. It's mainly Western Europe, North America, Australia, and New Zealand. Okay? Okay, so let's go through all the stuff, all the horror stories we hear from the... I haven't heard a single story about a vaccine reaction in Costa Rica. I haven't heard a single story of somebody being rushed to the hospital after getting the vaccine in Costa Rica. Literally everyone on this mountain I live on, except myself and my wife, who heeded my counsel, has the vaccine, including all the Quebecar natives, including their 130-year-old matriarch. They're all fine. Okay? So we need to start contextualizing what this is. This is, and look, the mark of the beast, the mark of Satan, isn't it interesting that it's only being applied to the cultures that really believe in that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
well, the thing is though, here's the main thing. Irrespective. So the thing is, let's say that you don't, even if you've gotten the vax, or even if you partaken in the experiment, and you didn't die, that's fine. And there's no visible thing to you. You don't see anything. But unbeknownst to you, when you went to that doctor, you were given a unique identifier, okay, that's going to work off IPv6, okay, and it's going to work off Bluetooth devices. So you will be recognizable and identifiable because you have partaken in this, because that shit is inside of you. Now, there's not videos of guys putting magnets on their arms. That's not what we got here. This is what's called the ID 2020 Alliance. And this is Big Pharma and Microsoft teaming up, and they will combine vaccinations with implantable microchips to create your digital ID. That's what they're going to do. Now, you couple that with the luciferase patent. You couple it with this, these reports, and you're right. It's not the same everywhere. There's control groups everywhere. What works, what doesn't work, what made people sick, what didn't, what can we use now? Okay, come down now and get the booster shot, because now we figured out what to do, and because we had billions of test subjects to gather our data, so we can make a prediction based on that. Looking into the future, it's going to be a blockchain ID. They need to identify every single person on Earth. they're already identifying every single tree, so on and so forth, with satellites that are up in the sky. These new micro satellite clusters that are able to see through clouds and all this other stuff, which ties directly into this Bluetooth examination of people that are identifiable by somebody's cell phone or popping up on a TV, on a smart TV. This guy walks in the room and this number pops up. When he gets in his car, a number pops up on his screen in his car. Rockin Rio, explain a little bit more about that. And Epic Journeyman, come in here on this IPv6 and talk a little bit about the difference between the two, because IPv4 is not talking to IPv6, right? So isn't it the perfect migratory formation to get out of the old into the new and be able to build secure tunnels through Bitcoin, 5G, and this type of blockchaining around the world? Go ahead.
Well, yeah, and most of our cable modems and DSL modems and internet routers are dual capable at this point. I know mine has IPv6, and so does Windows 10, so does Mac OS, and all the other stuff. So they're already working on it, and it's not really rolled out too far yet, nationwide or worldwide. But the technology is there. It's already the equipment is already in your house. It's already on your desktop. It's already in your phone. And there will be a point where they flip the switch and activate the system, and everybody's going to just seamlessly go right over to IPv6. They've been working on this for a decade or better. And now that they can tie the 5G and the Bluetooth 5 and the satellites and all this other stuff together and get them interconnected and talking, it's just part of what the LTE network was really all about. We had first generation was voice, second generation was voice and data, third generation was internet. Now fourth generation and fifth generation are coming, right? We have 4G LTE. And
men over 45
5G.
that enlarged prostate have you up to urinate 2 or more times a night.
Oh my God, man.
What?
Somebody had some prostate issues in the green room and was trying to.
I heard
what the
that.
hell is going on, man?
Hey, I don't know.
All
man.
I gotta say, man, is
scaring the piss out of him with all this, I guess.
Cranberry juice, dude. Cranberry juice. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry, but
that's all right. So this stuff all ties together now, and they're finally got it to a point where the entire system can be unified. And when you combine that with the chip technology and the graphene oxide and all the other stuff that's going on, and the worldwide experiment that's going on, it only makes sense that at some point this is all going to come together and be
right, because it's just like
this is where the one world currency comes from.
Right.
This is where the one world government comes from. This is where the the restricted access, and a lot of people kind of poo-poo the whole mark of the beast idea, but when you look at what Revelation says, it says no man will be able to buy or sell without it, and it will be a mark, and it says in your right hand to your forehead. So maybe the current injectable isn't exactly it. Maybe it is. Maybe it's just the way it was written. But the idea that every single person and every single dollar and or whatever the new currency is going to be, and every single device can all be tracked, networked, turned on, turned off, geofenced, all in one shot, through a global network that's being installed as we speak. It's there.
Right.
This is there right now.
Yeah, and the thing is, like we keep saying, it's not about the sickness, man. It's not about the sickness. COVID stands for Certificate of Vaccination ID. Irrespective of whatever illness may be going around the world, it doesn't matter. What matters is the first time that you get ID'd, that you got your DNA is part of what he's talking about. Just like he said, it was voice and data, right? Voice and data. Well, now it's not just voice and data, it's voice and data and your personal DNA information. Your personal IP address on the blockchain network that surrounds the world like a spider web. And the thing is once everybody is identified at that point, you're going to see a lot of things are going to stop. Because once you got positive ID, a lot of this internet shit that goes on is going to stop. And all the weird predator actions and all this stuff, a lot of that's going to stop on the internet. A lot of things are going to stop as a result of this new system that's coming in, because you're not going to be able to get away with anything, literally. You'll be everywhere. The DNA snippers are out in force, and they're probably working off the Internet of Things, aren't they? Epic Journeyman, IPv6, IPv4, they don't talk to each other. What's going on here? Are we making that move? Is this how we're going to make?
We are making that move. What happened was that when we talked many times about how CERN is responsible for World Wide Web and how ICANN was created to assign these addresses, right? And Joy Ito, guy who worked closely with Jeffrey Epstein, of all people, right? It was intimately involved with this, as was SRI. It was a DARPA project run by the military, run by Stanford, and it became eventually Department of Commerce, right? So, but that was IPv4, and they realized that they were going to run out of numbers. They had over 4 billion addresses, unique addresses, but they realized they were going to run out shortly. So in 1998, they created, approved and created IPv6, and IPv6 is a huge number of addresses. It's 3.4 times 10 to the 38th power, or 2 to the 128th power. And to put this in perspective, the biggest number we have basically is a Google, not like the search browser, search engine. It's actually GOOGOL. It was actually made as kind of a joke by the 9-year-old nephew of a famous mathematician, but way back in the 20s, I believe it was. But that number has always stayed with us. And so that number is 10 to the 100th power. So 10 with 100 zeros after it. Well, the entire known universe, if it was all, including subatomic particles, everything we know, the entire known universe is 10 to the 80th power, which means it's 1/10 billionth of a Google. 1/10 billionth of Google. Well, this we're talking this huge number, 3.4 times 10 to the 38th, right? Or 2 times 120, or 2 to the 120th power, rather. This is what we're talking is available through IPv6. And what this allows us to do is to actually do what's called multicasting. Now, they do multicasting now, like when you send all on your email or whatever, right? And you have a group, and they're sending individual addresses. This is equivalent of the voice of God. Okay, that's what this is. When you send all with this, it sends to all, every known thing connected in the entire spectrum of anything connected to the internet.
Wow.
All simultaneously, all at one time. Put this in perspective. That's it. That's what's going to allow things like AR Mirror World and the Internet of Things to all interact simultaneously with, if the network has a latency that we're hoping to get, right, with these other 5G and upcoming 6G platforms and stuff, then what'll happen is it's literally like that. Like everybody around the world can be linked simultaneously to anything. I mean, at any time, instantly, right? So that's like, the difference. So we're talking about something that is it at one time. It sounds like 4 billion is a lot, right? But they knew they were going to run out of numbers. They did. That's why they had all these different protocols to try to make subnets and things like that to make it extended longer. But this is going to make it so that everything's instantaneous. And we talk about things like Amazon Sidewalk, where if you didn't opt out by June 8th, you're automatically enrolled. If you get an Amazon device, you're on it. Not only Amazon, but anything that's linked to Amazon. So your BMW car, your TV, all those things. Anything that has an Alexa or a Dot or any of those things, they're all in there. A Spot, what they call it, Spot the cameras. All those things are linked automatically. You're on that network.
That's right.
It's the beginning of the Internet of Things. Your smart refrigerator, your smart microwave, your smart pooper.
Well, you're a
all
thing.
Those things are linked. Yep.
Yeah, well, you're a thing on the planet. You belong to somebody. You're somebody's citizen. And because of that, they get a big chunk of you for the rest of your life. They take a chunk out of your hide. And so they need to be able to track that. They want to let you roam free range, but they need to keep track of you so they can still get their chunk out of your hide. And I think, this partnership between Microsoft and Mastercard and this connecting of all these people and the numbers that are made available now for all these independent addresses to exist out there.
Facebook joined August 26th.
What was it? Facebook?
Facebook joined on August 26th to ID 2020. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. There's another one.
There you go. So, I mean, just because they partnered up, does that mean that they're now going to supply them with all the data that they need?
Potentially. They're in a lot of trouble right now. We'll see.
All right. Well, listen, I'm going to run through some slides. This is a presentation, and there's no audio, so it's just text. But I'm going to read it because it's a presentation that was made to some people. All right. So this announcement that Mastercard and Microsoft will develop a common shared digital identity implementation is a major step forward for self-sovereign identity. Self-sovereign identity. That's something you're going to want to pay attention to. Hyperledger Indie Project and the Sovereign Foundation. I'm just waiting for the slide to move here. So Cisco, IBM, Microsoft, as well as banks, credit unions are committed to the concept and implementation of a common self-sovereign identity, a concept Microsoft has promoted since early 2017, and now Mastercard has joined that club. Mastercard has announced a new partnership with Microsoft that looks to make it easier to verify your identity. Stand by here, changing screens. The two tech giants have said they will work together in a unified solution that could be consumer-sold digital identity. Stand by. Today's digital identity landscape is patchy, inconsistent, and what works in one country doesn't work in another. Digital identity is the cornerstone of how people live, work, play every day, said Joy Chick, corporate vice president of Microsoft. So there you go. They got a system in place. All they need is positive ID and something that's secure, like blockchain, right? Because everybody believes blockchain's secure because they're investing all kinds of money in it, so it must be secure. You put money in it, wouldn't you say? I don't know. My name's Jimmy. It's into the microcosm. We're breaking it wide open. We've only got we're coming up on the top of the hour. This Aftermath FM. It's into the microcosm.
I take my card and I stand in line to make a buck. I will go overtime. Yes, sir, letters keep coming in there. I work my back till it's right with rain. The boss can't even recall my name. I show up late and I'm down to never fail. I feel like just another smoking a great big wheel, like a tiny blade of grass in a great big field. Whoa. To workers, I'm just another drone. To my mail, I'm just another phone. I'm just another
So it's the internet of things, and everything has to have a number so we can know if anything's wrong, if we have any bad machines. You don't want to have any bad machines running around now, do you? And so now, I mean, with proximity detection that I told you about earlier that's been used in the retail environment, we can see that from an integration standpoint, it's possible for me to take off-the-shelf technology and integrate you an ID system right here and right now. I don't even have to speculate about what someone is going to do or not going to do, because I got the wherewithal right here to just reach into the shelves of these companies that have a technology that's available for anybody to buy and go ahead and, like, literally right now, it's possible for you to put your own micro satellite into the sky. Believe it or not, it's true. And these micro satellites, and just imagine these drones, the miniature drones that you see. Well, just imagine swarming satellite systems that float above the earth and scan through clouds. It's said that possible to even scan through walls and ceilings, Epic Journeyman. So I mean, at the point that let's just say it says it's possible, let's not go that far. We're not scanning, but do you think we could put a powerful enough signal to pick up the Bluetooth ID that's being put out? Because let's say, like I said earlier, these covert routers exist in your equipment at your house. There's a TV in there, and when you walk in the room, that TV picks up on this new ID. It goes boop. There's Mr. 1001001, and he's so now we know you're in the house. We know you're in the house, and now we can turn on Amazon. We can listen with the Alexa. We could turn on these wireless cameras that you went and bought, and your wireless doorbell camera. And we can turn on all this stuff inside of your house because there's all these little Bluetooth networks that exist. And really, without a spectrum analyzer, there's no way for anybody to even know what's going on inside their house. Epic Journeyman, Rockin Rio, Bruce Macdonald, and Monte Dean. Are you going to have to do the dirty? I mean, listen, I just want to say Rob Skiba, rest in peace. He's been in alternative media for a long time over on Truth Frequency Radio. He's a Christian guy. Recently he's become a flat earther. And so lots of people know him from that. But before that, but he's recently been very outspoken on this particular injectable. And he went in the hospital and died of COVID-19. So it seems that there's a lot of people in the alternative media are dropping dead for coming out there and putting anything out there that has. If you have an audience, like I said, it's not what you're saying; it's how many people are listening. And so if you've got an audience and you're out there hammering a viewpoint on something, you might want to make sure you take a little extra vitamins. You don't want to end up in a box. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I'm happy with my audience. I've only got 622 people subscribed to YouTube, so I'm right in the middle. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, you're in that sweet spot where you're just a little bit. You're not quite visible, just a little bit. You're like the Invisible Man. You're wearing a suit, but I can't see you, but I can see your suit.
I cannot be the gaping hole that is me can be seen.
all that can be seen to me is the empty husk that I used to be.
Yeah. The hole that where I am is what gives me away. So. I was actually thinking, like, with how with this. For starters, the people that are trying to bring this in, they're idiots. Can you name anything in history that's worked 100%? So I'm just giving a little bit of hope and joy to people here. It's like they'll probably bring it in, but there'll be bugs and just everything's. I mean, have you ever been to the DMV? Because that's a high standard of functionality.
Yeah. Well, Bruce, can you speak to a little bit of some of what you've been working on for one of your clients, the particular idea behind the demographic and the collecting of information for just for informational purposes?
Yeah. So very briefly, I write a 1,400-word application for technology clients in the Canadian market that allows them to get a tax rebate above and beyond what they already get for writing off labor costs and stuff like that. And it has to do with new scientific research or experimental development. And in 2021, I hit this cluster of clients that they're all in the advertising industry. And the big thing in advertising now is not wasting an ad. So how do you do it? So the old model of advertising was, okay, we'll put a big billboard up and X number of people are going to drive past it and we charge you this much. And there's a certain increase in sales, but it was always very difficult to understand how effective your advertising was. Now what all the ad agencies are getting into is just like the hedge fund managers in Wall Street brought in quantitative departments in the 90s, and they all have them now. Okay, the computer geeks, the statisticians, working on supercomputers, right? Or the next thing under a supercomputer, because crays are illegal. You can't legally own a cray if you're not, you don't have the security clearance. That's right, Epic. You can't just go and buy a cray computer, can you?
We had one at my old work. Yeah, we did. Yeah, but it was actually, they're so rare, right? Like you're saying, it's almost, in the day it was like having a quantum computer from, the first ones they made back in the day. I mean, it's kind of that thing, you know. So few of them out there. Yeah, we had one.
So the new advertising model gathers up the information on your phone, and it knows where you are on a regular basis. So let's say you work for an insurance company in downtown Toronto, and they know that you're at the subway platform every day at between 5:28 and let's say 5:42. There's like a 10-minute window. You might have been held up a couple minutes at work or something. They're going to target an ad directly to your phone that they're claiming, based on their statistical models, that their advertising is going to have like an 80% success rate. So basically, advertising is getting to a point now where it's basically commission on sales. It's no more just throwing spaghetti against the wall and getting your brand out there like Coca-Cola in the 50s. It's just like, oh, hey, Bruce works out every Sunday at 11 a.m. Let's make sure we pop a power drink ad on his cell phone at 12:30 in the afternoon when he's coming out of the gym, and he probably wants a power drink.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so it's a conflagration of several different kinds of thinking in companies. They're all coming together, okay?
Well, yeah.
You got the classical advertising people, you've got the statisticians and mathematicians, and then you have the third-party vendors that sell raw device ID data.
Mm-hmm. Well, and here's the thing: human beings are raw device going to be raw devices on this network, and everything that you're describing right there is another part of my integration tonight. Because I'm going to integrate that same technology you got right there. I'm going to combine it with augmented reality, because when you walk up to a store, I'm going to reverse it to you as the consumer, because I'm going to put it right in your eyeball when you walk by my store. I'm going to be able to beam it right into your skull.
Everybody's happy.
It's Aftermath FM. I missed my mark there, and I got to take care of my sponsor because he takes care of me, and hopefully you can take care of him, and everybody benefits, because a lot of people do have some great results. So, Mom's Jimmy, sitting in the microcosm. We'll be right back.
No eyes on me.
It's Aftermath FM.
The reviews for Extendovite are amazing. Here are some from Amazon. By Christine, great for heart palpitations. By Anne, before I started using this product, every afternoon my ankles and my hands would be swollen. That doesn't happen anymore. So if that part of their advertising is true, I have to assume that the rest of it is also. Not to mention that when I had my yearly blood test, only a few weeks after beginning to use this product, my cholesterol had dropped over 30 points. I'm going to continue to take it. By Croc, I love this product. It really works. By Brad, works great, thank you. Tell us your story. Get your Extendovite today. To order, call 1-877-928-8822. That's 1-877-928-8822, or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
kicking ass Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, right here. Aftermath FM. Rockin Rio, are you getting ready for the reverse perverse circus? As we're coming close to the end of our venture here tonight, our little boat is getting smacked around in the oceans of time, and we're about to go up against the rocks. Another 60 minutes here on Aftermath FM. It's going to be time to hit the lifeboats, but before we do, Rockin Rio, are you there?
I am here.
Excellent
And,
taste.
Yeah, let's we can save Captain Kirk to the end there. I think it's only a few minutes worth. It's short and sweet kind of thing. But you know, one of the other parts of this whole 5G Bluetooth thing I wanted to touch on too was obviously that goes along with the potential microchipping that's going on. Is the mRNA itself, right? We know that it's a code to modify genetic data. And, you know, that's another suspect aspect of the experiment that's going on. So when you look at Bluetooth and where it originated and the symbolism in it, right? Everybody knows the B symbol for their Bluetooth. It's actually a combination of two runes, which is known as a bind rune.
Interesting.
Right? Because, and we talk about this in English all the time, how words have double meanings and triple meanings, right? It's a bind, like you could be spellbound as well.
Right.
But in this case, it just means putting two letters together to create a symbol. So it's basically the letter H and the letter B, Hegal and Bjarkin from the Nordic runes, and they symbolize. Hegal is the rune of transformation and change due to forces outside of your control.
Interesting.
All right, and the B, the Barkan rune, is the rune of rebirth and purification. So along with all this other stuff and the suspect of the system being Bluetooth enabled. Bluetooth itself is about transformation and change due to forces beyond your control, and rebirth and purification, which is ties directly into the goal of living forever in the cloud through the mRNA alteration of your DNA, right? This is what these people are trying to achieve with this.
Well, hold on there, Buckaroo, because let's venture back in time. We don't have to go way back. We'll just go a little bit back, and let's go back to what you found from Joe Biden in reverse, talking about this injectable.
Oh yeah, well, the actually was Biden and Fauci and. I forget the
Trump.
What's his? Marjak. Whatever the CDC guy's name is. Yeah, I've even played these clips on previous shows. Fauci came right out and says, and several references it to, we're going to give you the mark, right? Fauci specifically said, we have the mark and it's scannable.
Right.
And the one with Biden, Biden is the one who actually said, in a discussion about taking this, he flat out said, his reverse said, we will control you. It was one phrase that was there. And then the other one says now I'm saying we have the mark of the beast to take it. Right. So
do you have to chop off? You have to go so far out on a limb that you may just snap the branch off to even conceive about what we're talking about here? Because I don't think so. I don't think it's that far out of the realm. And once you're in here, once you've gone this far, it's almost like we've talked about before. Once you've done this, well, you're only that much further away from doing that, right? So here's there. Let me ask you. Listen to this. You can find this on Silicon Republic website, and this is an article by Colm Gorey. How big a task is giving everyone on Earth a digital identity? Okay, this is from 2017, ladies and gentlemen. Millions of people around the world are invisible with no form of identity, but blockchain and other technologies can help you solve this. Let me see here. There are more than 1 billion people across the globe who have no form of identity. This is a massive problem. Imagine trying to flee a war from a war-torn land and making it to another country, only to be told there is no record of you existing, so giving you asylum will be difficult. Oh man, this is too much.
Not unless Joe Biden's in
Are
charge.
you guys
and
hearing
you can
this?
just get 10,000 people walking across the border.
Dude, this is exactly like, yeah, it's because we wanted to be able to control your brain, because people that don't have legs, they need to be able to operate these new bionic legs. You're not against people having bionic legs, are you? You're not against these war-torn, you're not against these war-torn asylum seekers who just want some asylum from the horrible war. You don't want to fuck with that, do you?
No, well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm the type of person that's still trying to figure out why my fridge needs to be connected to the internet.
Well, it's because of these war-torn.
Because you're eating too many eggs, Monty.
Monty, it's because these asylum seekers, they need to be able to have an ID. That's why your refrigerator has to be able to talk to your, local electric company. So listen, let me see here. Now serving as its executive director, Gruner continued to work with Gabby. Listen to this, a light bulb moment. While working, Gruner traveled to Cameroon in 2014 to launch his national rotavirus vaccination program. Despite going there with the knowledge that much of the country's rural area was significantly deprived of vaccines, Gruner was shocked to hear from a local running of the program that they were achieving great success. So much, in fact, that the local manager's data showed up, a 140% vaccination rate, which set off alarm bells in Cameroon. And then, the last census was held in 1980s, blah, blah, blah. So they just knew about everything now. So here, is blockchain the answer? So how does ID 2020 plan to use technology to give people a digital identity? Well, one of the solutions may lie in the blockchain. It's distributed ledger technology in the financial world, along with nearly every other major industry by storm. As a participant in the recent Accenture, it's a company you want to look up there in the Bay Area, Accenture Blockchain for Good Hackathon, ID 2020 has interest in the technology that would provide traceable digital identity, which in theory cannot be edited by third parties. But as Gruner points out, Gabby considered itself technologically agnostic, meaning it was wary of the pace of change, so it'd be unlikely that it goes with this facet of it. Yeah, right. We've gone with the blockchain because there's clearly an appetite for it, but to some extent, I think there will be life cycles of lots of different technologies and blah, blah, blah. So it has a role social media. One possibly suggested by digital identity advocates aims to use a form of digital identity that many of us might use on a daily basis but never really think about. Facebook. What did you just say a minute ago, Epic Journeyman?
August 26th, yeah, they joined ID 2020. So
what a coincidence. So go ahead, Rockin Rio, jump back in here, and then I think we should start moving into the reverse perverse, because I know lots of people are hanging around to hear what William Shatner is saying, Captain Kirk. is it good Kirk or bad Kirk that beams in? I don't know. We'll find out in a minute. But let's close this out, everybody. So I think if I was gonna make that's this article here, that could be my closing statement on this. I mean, we've clearly identified the technology that makes every single thing we've talked about tonight from a speculative point of view totally possible. And, there's two kinds of people in the world, those who can extrapolate from limited information. So it's into the microcosm. Bruce Macdonald's here, the wayward writer in Costa Rica on the Talamanca Mountains up there in the dark, smoking fat cigars and dreaming about the day that he'll have his own flock of sheep and herd of cattle. I know you got the whole cattle thing, but Rockin Rio, are you just about ready to get into the reverse perverse? And you guys all come on in on the panel. We got about 45 minutes left of the show, and I want to give plenty of time to Rockin Rio. It's been a few weeks, and he's got really a lot of great stuff. You guys are going to be blown away by all this stuff. So come on in. Let's close it out. Epic Journeyman, start with you. Toss this talking stick over to Bruce, and then you, Monty, and then we'll get out of here with Rockin Rio. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think we've shown the ability through, we're talking Bluetooth here tonight, but not just Bluetooth networks. We've talked about how we're going to use light and LEDs in the future to do it, right? I mean, that's you can be walk up to the side, it'd be like Minority Report, just that sign. You walk by the glow of those LEDs, and it'll sense and send things that are networked as well, right? So there's much more to it than just these other technologies, wireless technologies we think of in the sense of Bluetooth and whatnot. So pretty much anything man-made is going to get to that point. Anything man-made, it really is. And I would like to say I do not think that the current vax per se has anything to do with this ID 2020 right now. Not now, right? But is it being trial run as far as a distribution path? Perhaps it might be, right? So we'll see. I mean, this is my opinion on that one for speculation purposes. But I think that as far as the ability to deploy it and get it out there, they're trying different methods. What will people use and how will they get it? I mean, food is probably the best way, or aerial dispersion, I think.
Well, there's two things with that. They I forget which university lab just came out with it, but they have now figured out how to aerosolize the jab so that they can spray it. And,
we talked about that, yeah.
Well, hey, listen.
Not only that, but interestingly, they're running the test in the New York City subways this week. So you kind of really wonder what they're spraying.
Well, listen to this. This is an ad that's currently running on Craigslist in Santa Cruz and around the Bay Area, and this is Pacific Gas and Electric LED lighting replacement program. Businesses start today. All of the Bay Area. It says we're interviewing people for positions in business and government buildings, lighting retrofitting. So the thing is PG&E is paying businesses to switch from fluorescent over to LED. They're going to do it for free. So they're advertising for you to be a salesman in that marketplace, to come and knock on the door and say, hey, how would you like me to replace all your lighting in here in your building over to LEDs for free? How would you like that? They'll go, fuck yeah.
They've done that here in Victoria. Like this, the government actually changed our light bulbs over to something instead of the standard, the old one to the new ones. I can't remember, but it was a government initiative to save power and all this horse hockey.
Well, let me just say this too.
It's for Li-Fi.
Let me just say this too. Cell phone 5G is different than 5G, meaning 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi. And your 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi in your house, blasting your whole house and blasting outside your walls, it's making Google's new cell phones possible. It's also making these other networks possible. The smart meter on the side of your house, it's in the 900 megahertz range. That stuff's blasting through your house. It's hitting networks that you don't even know exist in your house. That shit's reporting back to the. How do you think the smart meter is going to know how much your washer and dryer is getting used, how much hot water you're using? That's how. Now that's how. That's what they used to say. So Rockin Rio.
I just had a thought. Sorry, they'll use that for their version of climate change because you've used too much CO2, carbon credits, blah blah blah, and your car will be turned off.
Well, I'm sorry, breath. I opened the window and there was a bunch of noise going on. Hold on, let me close the window there. Yeah, so say that again now. But they want to use it for climate change. Well, you're right, and that's exactly why you got to be identified. That's why they have to identify every citizen of the earth, because each one of us has a carbon footprint. So we either have a footprint that goes negative, or we have a positive footprint. So your positive footprint, meaning you don't drive a SUV, you live someplace where you do a lot of walking, and so you got a bunch of extra carbon that you don't need, and you can sell it over there to Epic Journeyman, because his Jeep, when he hits the trails up in the middle of the night on emergency calls, he's burning carbon, and he needs to get there, so he needs to get it somewhere. So that lifts up these third and fourth world people who don't have IDs, they don't have cell phones, but all of a sudden, because they got a carbon footprint that's worth a little bit of carbon credit, well, now they get a free cell phone. And, hey, free vaccination to take. You don't want to die of the thing that's going around, do you? No. You want to come on over here and you want to sit on down, and it might feel a little slight sting, but that's just pride fucking with you. Fuck pride. Pride never helps, it only hurts. Time has come for Rockin Rio's reverse perverse circus right here on Aftermath FM. It's time, children, to shout at the devil. Rockin Rio, are you there? Still in one piece, dude? I know you've been working.
So.
I know you've been working all day long, and I see you set yourself on fire there with that lighter fluid and caught your leg on fire. That was kind of funny, but I don't mean to laugh at you, but that was funny. But anyways, I'm trying to blow the smoke out of here. Smells like sulfur. Smells like sulfur in here. Smells like George Bush must have just walked through. Remember that when Gaddafi made a speech after Bush left the at UN, and he said it smelled like sulfur in there? And he was right, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Man, a little bit of sulfur never hurt anybody, but it does make the hair on the back of my neck stand up whenever it's time to shout at the devil. All right, William Shatner, Captain Kirk. Good Kirk, bad Kirk. Let us have it, man.
So everybody knows that he supposedly went up into space yesterday, right? There's some speculation that it was not real, but I'll leave that to the side. So, he went on the Blue Origin flight with Jeff Bezos has got going, and he came back and got out of his space capsule, and he, had this profound moment. He's you can look these up on all over YouTube and whatever. They've got plenty of clips, and all the interviews he's done, he's pretty much said had the same story for the whole thing about how when he went into space, the light and the dark was a profound moment to him, and when he had reached the blackness of space and looked down at the fragility of the earth. So this is one of those interviews where he's discussing that. I'll play a little bit of it forward before I get into the backward, but the backward is actually kind of revealing. And he it's kind of what you'd expect, but there is a real interesting. There is one line in here that's very interesting for somebody who has supposedly been to space, and it's about the shape of the Earth.
You can talk about weightlessness all you want, but the feeling of weightlessness, the actual feeling of weightlessness, is indescribable. First of all, your guts, your body doesn't have any pressure, so suddenly your body's expanding. Secondly, you're floating, and I don't want to turn somersaults. I don't want to throw Skittles. I want to look out the window. I mean,
all right, so there's what the forward speech is saying. And so now here we're going to go into the reverse. It says, the loneliness reverses it all. Will you listen? Serving the man who said he loved me, but he stabbed me. You involve yourself. Pull them out. Sin is it. It says, where is the heavenly force at? It's a sin. It says, yeah, we live on the ball with our system. You will be cast into the deep. And then there's some garbled stuff in there. And then the next part of it is he ends up talking about Lucifer roaming the earth and beyond. But here we go. This is the loneliness reverses it all. Will you listen? And it says, you're serving the man who said he loved me. But he stabbed me. It says, you involve yourself. Pull them out. Okay, so you involve yourself, pull them out. Sin is it. Where is the heavenly force at? It's a sin.
Sin is it. Really force. It's a feeling of weight. This is the actual feeling of weight.
So
really force. It's a sin.
Where is the heavenly force at? It's a sin. We live on the ball with our system. You will be cast into the deep. So that's that's a pretty profound moment there. And then the next part I have here, I'll run through this.
The whole physical experience of mounting that gantry, of getting into that chair, of being weightless, of having 5Gs, and suddenly, as I'm...
All right, and it's interesting, too, here that he references 5G.
5G, yeah, no joke, right?
He also, I mean, obviously he's referring to 5 gravitational units, but he's talking about the 5G, right? And the reference in reverse is what makes it interesting.
It
says reverse DNA. We embrace having the DNA morphed, and that's right where he makes the reference to 5G. I'll play that again.
Getting into that chair, being weightless.
We embrace having DNA morphed, which is a very coherent thing. And then it says and Islam too. And Islam. That I didn't catch. There's another line here I didn't catch, and then he will say the At the end there, it says, our mind is weak.
Keep saying, yeah, no,
Our mind is weaker.
Satan is lost in the earth.
Okay, so
Of this whole thing is
he says Satan is loose in the earth
Satan is lost in the earth. Half
and beyond,
further than that.
and further than that. It says, can you hear him? The beast, the beast, the beast. So that's Bill Shatner.
90 years old.
90 years old. Supposedly went to
that's-
space. But
Well,
it,
yeah.
you know, it was that whole 5G thing there where it says, you know, we enjoy seeing the DNA morph. I thought that was like fascinating because he's talking 5G as in gravity, you know,
Yeah, of
like
course. But
pulling
just the
5G
fact that
going
it,
up.
right, the way it connects like that I thought was interesting. Look, I mean, just because so many people talk about it that way, you know, we all know it's gravitational units, but still, you know, for him to preface the whole thing that leads into the verse with that is pretty interesting.
Well, that and the fact, you know, if he actually did go to space and looked out the window like he says he did, and he says, yeah, we live on the ball. So, you know, obviously it's not flat. I know that'll agitate a few people.
It's flat all the way around. You got to remember that. So.
Yes, exactly.
Well, my point of view is we live in a hologram, and that just upsets everybody. So it's whatever you create.
Now, you know what? You just gave flat earthers an out. Did you know that, Mike? I think you did, or Monty rather. Yeah,
That's I'm a comedian. That's what I do. I like to.
I know. No,
poker.
You just gave them an out because if you go to the Planck scale, the origin of all holograms in the holographic universe is actually flat. So there you go.
Yeah, and
There you go.
Because we live in a placebo universe, and you create your reality, and so the shape of my planet is actually pretzel. It's just easy to travel that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. Let me have will you pass me a beer with that pretzel?
You have the pretzel first, because that's why they're there. You know that salty nuts and pretzels. It's so you can get thirsty.
Really?
So it's all about the marketing.
Well, what came first, the salt or the pretzel?
I know what comes after the salty pretzel is the beer.
There you go. And without that beer,
Definitely.
Without that beer, you almost.
Pretzels exist without beer? That's my question.
Well, the thing is, without that beer, you might as well not even have a pretzel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like in the Simpson episode where Homer has to eat that really big steak, and he starts buttering the bread. And it's like, Dad, don't do. Bart says, Dad, don't fill up on bread first. That's how they get you at the restaurants.
Yeah,
they
that's
give you all
right.
these little tidbits before the main meal.
Well, so Captain Kirk, man, he's beaming down back to the planet and back to the reality. So Rockin Rio, how far along are you now? Because I stepped away to make myself some hot coffee because it seems like we're probably going to be going into overdrive. And at the after party, we'll invite everybody too. You guys can come over to it and hang out with us if you want. Because I know for a fact we're not going to be able to get through everything here tonight.
No, I got it. It's done.
So you played everything?
Yeah, I played the whole clip.
All right, now, so did you find it interesting that Captain Kirk was mentioning the global catastrophe? Can you play that in forward?
Well, the section about the global catastrophe.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah, because there was nothing in reverse, and there was no. So it's not a matter of whether it was congruent or not congruent. But because maybe he said it all in forward, he didn't need to say anything in reverse. There wasn't.
Yeah,
any...
that was right at the very end.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what are you guys thinking now? We've gone through a lot of information here, and you hear Captain Kirk is kind of aligning with some of the stuff we've been talking about tonight, isn't he? In a few ways, not necessarily on the from a shapist point of view, but I mean from the Satan being loose on the earth, this kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Epic.
Well, I was just like kind of daydreaming when I was listening to him about all the things that he's been involved with, right? Like he made a joke before he flew up there that I thought was interesting. He was saying how he was really impressed with the big window, and he mentioned it in this talk right here. He talks about wanting to see the window, but before he went up, he's saying, "Yeah, I can't wait to go look out that big window. I just hope there's nothing looking back at me," which is a reference to the Twilight Zone episode called something to terror at 20,000 feet, I think it is. Terror at 30,000 feet.
Yeah, there's a man on the wing. There's a man on the wing.
Right. They did it in the remake too that John Landis did, without him obviously, but they did the remake of that episode. It's such a great episode. So he's making this reference to Gremlins and talking about looking out the window, and he talks about the window again here in reverse, and that's where the reverse speech is part of it, right? But I was thinking about all things in our culture that he's been involved with Star Trek. I mean, it's really pretty fascinating when you look back at it, the influence this guy actually had.
But maybe one night we'll do a Star Trek archaeologist show in reverse.
That would be tight. That would be tight. The one where the AI takes over and kills a bunch of people in the Federation. And
I am Nomad.
And Spock has to give it the riddle that melts the brain of the AI, which is everything he says is a lie, and that's the truth. That makes the head smoke of the AI. But let me just say this: robo-dogs and AI dogs with guns on their backs, they can't see fishing line. Just a heads up. They can't see fishing line. Just a heads up. In case you need
I also think that Jeff Bezos is trying to turn into Dr. Evil. I mean, he's got the shaved head, he's got the penis-looking rocket, I mean, he's got all the dollars, so...
Well, that's part of the whole thing about this, too, is where, I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of people who say this wasn't real, that, it didn't really happen, it's kind of a publicity thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that was kind of strange about it is, usually when, a rocket lands, there's emergency teams standing by and just in case something goes wrong when they hit the ground. When you see the capsule hit the ground, the only people that show up is a camera crew and pickup trucks. There's no emergency personnel standing by. There's no, they don't even look in the capsule. They set up the microphones and the sound and the little stairway and everything. So it kind of does make you wonder whether this is for real or not,
Well, what I think is funny is that he comes out and he talks about the shape of the Earth. That to me is funny. Just because he must have been considering it before he went up there or something, and he was so enthralled by the idea that he came off and subconsciously that he was thinking that in that moment. So if it was fake, I don't think he would subconsciously be saying that stuff, though, would you? I mean, unless that's a whole, we know someone's going to be listening. We know Rockin Rio was perverse circus.
There's already a meme going around the social medias where it's just a photo of Bill and it says, the Earth is round, I checked. It's just a funny meme. But
dude, it's funnier than shit that it says it in reverse, though, right there on our show right here. It's funny that he brought it up. We can
make a meme of the meme. It's we also check this in reverse, and he is correct.
Yeah, he says, we live on the ball, right? That's so.
Yeah. So speaking of memes, because we're talking about Jeff Bezos' Dr. Evil, and his Blofeld kind of persona, right? I linked that Austin Powers 3-minute clip about all the radar jokes. I mean, I think it'd go over well if we got time. I mean, not right now.
Yeah,
it is good comedy, good wordplay.
It is. Yeah, let me scroll over there and get that. Go ahead, you guys.
Well, while you're getting that, I have the clip here where he says the upcoming catastrophe.
Yeah, do that. Drop that for everybody in case you didn't hear. It's on ABC, right? ABC?
Yeah, it's ABC.
Mm-hmm.
Feels
everything.
Good. Yeah.
And the realization, once again, the fragility of this planet, coming catastrophic event, and we all have to clean this act up now.
Well said. I kept thinking about that, saying they said when you go to space, they should have sent a poet, to describe it. Well, they kind of did. Bill Shatner. Thanks, you. Bill.
They should have sent a poet. Well, see, here's what Bruce Here's what makes me and here's what inflames my ass. You know what burns my ass, Bruce? A flame about this high. But also this William Shatner, the way he said that, he didn't say like people are trying to say what he meant was global warming or climate change. But climate change isn't an event. It's not something that happens. It's something that's ongoing. And the way he said that, would you mind playing that again, Rio? The way he says it, it sounds like it's something coming up. It's an event. It's something that's gonna happen, not something that's ongoing. Go ahead, play that, Rio. Let it rip. It's into the Microcosm Aftermath FM right here, Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific. You can find us. Bruce Macdonald's here, Monte Dean's here, Epic Journeyman's here, Rockin Rio's here. You're here, and then you're the most important people with us tonight because you're the ones that help support us. You're the ones that keep us in business, keep the lights on, keep the fucking situation rolling here at Aftermath FM. $79 a year, 365 days a year. Divide that by $79. It's pennies a day. Come on back. Be a supporter of what's going on here. Rockin Rio, are you ready to run that?
Yep, here we go.
Let it rip.
Feels
Everything.
good. Yeah.
And the realization, once again, the fragility of this planet, coming catastrophic event, and we all have to clean this act up now.
Well said.
So, is this the volcanic eruption that's going to happen with a tidal wave going over New York, and people got a coin, cost $1 million to get it with an October 24th date on it? And he said, you know what, man, now that I got to go underground for the next whatever time, I want to go up into space. Come on, man.
He said
Come on, guys. Let me be the one to go up in space. Come on, I know. Look, I'm 90 years old. I'm Captain Kirk, man. Come on, just let me be the one. Let me go up in space and, come on, let me go up before we have to go underground in the bunkers where the supply chain is going. Everybody thinks it's because the things are messed up, but really everything's going underground because something catastrophic event is about to happen.
Make him sound like Mark Wahlberg. You know how his acting style is. Oh, come on, man. Just get me in the rocket. Be all right. Come on. He can't act, by the way.
No.
Bill can.
Well, listen, no. Okay, so here you go. Here you go. This is the contributions of the Epic Journeyman tonight. Here in the last 15 minutes, I'm gonna roll this Austin Powers. There's a giant penis rocket going across the screen.
Colonel, you better take a look at this radar.
What is it, son?
I don't know, sir, but it looks like a giant dick.
Yeah. Take a look out of starboard.
Oh my God, it looks like a huge...
Pecker!
Oh, where?
Wait, that's not a woodpecker. It looks like someone's...
Privates! We have reports of an unidentified flying object. It is a long, smooth shaft, complete with two balls.
What is that? That looks just like an enormous...
Wang, pay attention.
I was distracted by that enormous flying...
Willie. Yeah. What's that? Well, it looks like a giant...
Johnson. Yes, sir. Get on the horn to British intelligence and let them know about this.
Did we get Dr. Eden?
No, sir. He got away in that rocket that looks like a huge...
Penis, the male reproductive organ, also known as tallywhacker, schlong, or...
Wiener? Any of you kids want another wiener?
Dad, what's that?
I don't know, son, but it's got great, big...
Nuts! Hot, salty nuts! Who wants some, Lord Almighty?
That looks just like my husband's.
One-eyed monster! Step right up and see the one-eyed monster!
Hey, what's that? Looks like a big...
Woody! Woody Harrelson? Can I have...
It's Aftermath FM. You want to pass me that Black Beauty over there?
See yourself looking upwards, watching the clouds across the sky.
Who knows why it's gotta be this way? We say nothing more than we need. I say your place where we be.
It's Aftermath FM, Monday through Friday, 10:30 Pacific, right here immediately following Clyde Lewis and Ground Zero. You'll find us. Time's almost up. You can join us into the microcosm with Jimmy G and Strike Zone on YouTube. We're going overtime, overdrive.
Baby, this is what you came for.
All right. You guys want to come on in here? Let's get ready to head on out of the Aftermath studio. Make sure, hey man, make sure you clean up that bong water over there. I don't want him coming. I don't want David Knight coming in here tomorrow smelling bong water. Make sure you clean that shit up and don't quit spilling the Cristal out for your dead homies, Rio. I mean, I can understand you want to pay them tributes, but you know, come on, man. You're going, I mean, it's Friday night. I get it, but you know, come on, bro.
Well, we have to have the Cristal on Friday night, man. It goes great with the salami and cheese.
I know. Well, there you go. I mean, what are you gonna do? And I mean, you're on the East Coast, so man. I mean, when you bring the cheesecake in from the delicatessen, I don't know. Let me just say, nothing better than a slice of cheesecake from New York City, man. Let me just say that. If you know that, then you know why Canner's Deli across the street from NBC Studios, you know why they sent back to New York for their own water from New York City, because that water has something to do with the taste of dough, pizzas, and cheesecake. I don't know what it is, man. No one knows.
And believe it or not, that water that feeds New York City actually comes from about 70 miles north of New York City, from a reservoir up near Kingston.
And it's full of rats.
It's
right.
I've been to the Ashokan Reservoir. It's not what you think.
Well, let me just say.
I just want to add, you know, for those listening who, you know, are of the mind that the vaccine is about depopulation, I hope we've alleviated those fears tonight. It's about control and domination.
Mm-hmm. That's a fact, Jack.
I would say I agree. I don't think it's about depopulating. I think it's about tagging and altering the population.
Yeah, and you don't want to kill people. You want to make them sick, and that way you can make more money.
Well, yeah, especially when you have a for-profit health system. You're not against people making more money, are you?
Imagine a world in which where you're running things and somebody's giving you some problems. You no longer have to dispatch a hitman or an economic hitman or anything like that.
No.
You just you just really recalibrate their insides, and everybody thinks they got cancer or a heart attack or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Or even worse, if you want to torture them, you just turn off their access to everything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're refusing,
if you can't buy food and your car won't start and you can't go to work, and you could have a very miserable last days on Earth.
Hey, man.
Just have a constant loop of the Smurfs in your skull going over and over and over.
IPv6 is going to be Internet 2. It's going to be fucking lightning fast, and anybody that's a refusenik is going to be back over there on the old Internet, the old rickety piece of shit with all the pop-up ads. You know, like remember the movie Idiocracy? When the dude is
Carl Jr. Fuck you.
He's surfing the internet. He's got all those pop-up ads on there. That's the kind of internet you'll be on for refuseniks. The old rickety piece of shit internet. Everybody else going to be having 3D movies in their hand. You can be able to watch The Doors back in 19 whatever, doing a show in Florida, getting arrested. You know, that's what it's going to be like if you're on the system. You got to be on the system, man. You got proof? You got proof?
Well, I mean, and we only really kind of like scrape the surface of the technology that's involved with this.
Mm-hmm.
Dig around, man. It's really, really fascinating. The deeper you go into it, especially with like the self-assembling graphene oxide. I mean, the fact that you can inject a bunch of molecules into something, have them read a code, hit them with a radio frequency, and have them self-assemble into a microchip it's mind-blowing.
It is
mind-blowing.
It is.
But would it be worth just getting an EMP generator and standing next to that for a while?
Mm.
You can barbecue some marshmallows and take care of the nanobots all at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. Multitask. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
So if we follow this through the Christian mythos, how long do we have to wait before we're liberated? And what in this context for the Christians on the call does the return of Christ mean? What does it mean? And does it not say in that mythos that 2/3 of the earth will fall and 1/3 of heaven?
Yeah, two-thirds
of the earth
of the earth will be destroyed by fire. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a volcanic eruption to me, man. La Cumbra.
It's wormwood. The asteroid strike. Yeah, it poisons the water, and then everybody gets smallpox or something like that. It gets boils that fester on them. Then people will pray for death, not be able to achieve it, which is like self-replicating nano repair technology that makes people live eternally, but they won't be able to escape their pain. It's ways off, but yeah, that seems like that's what that's talking about.
In the last 3 minutes, Epic Journeyman goes full on, non-stop. Man, let me just say, it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It's in the microcosm. Come on down in the microcosm, Jimmy Jean Strike Zone, the after party. You're welcome there. Just, the secret. Say the secret word, Epic Journeyman, and you're in like Flynn, so to speak. All right, Bruce Macdonald, Monte Dean, everybody, Rockin Rio, Epic Journeyman. Stay tuned. Hold on. Put your seatbelts on. And we'll get ready to get out of here. We got.
Inside your dirty cage, well, I'm alone inside my mind. I like to teach you all the rules. I get to see them set in stone. I like it when you chain me to the bed, but then you feel that. Oh, shit. inside is slowly changing in me. Will you give it to me? Looking in my own reflection, when suddenly it changes, violently it changes. Oh no, there is no turning back now. You've woken up the demon in me. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Open up your hate and let everyone to me. Get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You mother, get up, come on, get down with the sickness. You fucker, get up, come on, get down with the sickness.
Wenn getanzt wird, will ich führen. Auch wenn ihr euch alleine dreht. Lasst euch ein wenig kontrollieren. Ich zeige euch, wie's richtig geht. Wir bilden einen lieben Reigen. Die Freiheit spielt auf allen Geigen. Musik kommt aus dem Weißen Haus. Und vor Paris steht Mickey Mouse. We're all living in America. America ist wunderbar. We're all living in America. America.
We just wanna party just for you. We just wanna party just for you. I don't wanna party just for you. We just wanna party just for you. We just wanna party just for you. I don't wanna party just for you.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Look how I'm living now. Police be tripping now. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area.
All right, we're clear from the network. Stand by 1 second here. Wow, man.
Oh, did you just hear that line?
No. I bet
the
you.
last line of the song you played it said I think it said they got a stab and a plan for us.
Hold on, I'll back it up.
Back it up.
It says, "You understand? I got a plan for us." It says.
Oh, you understand?
It says.
I got a plan
It says like this. It says, "Sink down into the dark." You understand? I got a plan for us. I bet you didn't know that I was dangerous. That's the rhyme. What's up, SF? Everybody, hey, what's going on? We got 40 people hanging out over here with us, man. So come on in here, you guys. Let me step off here for a moment and grab myself a hot cup, a fresh cup of coffee, because I want to hang out with you for a bit here still. And I mean, we got like I
I
said.
actually have to go, so it's dinner time here. So.
Oh,
it's,
Monty.
I'm
Listen.
from the future.
Do us a favor though before you do go. Everyone's been asking about you and what's going on there. Tell us exactly, really, what's going on there before you take off. Just give us a boots on the ground.
I'll do a very short update because it's changing all the time.
Go ahead.
Yesterday, which interesting enough, because being on a global show like this, October the 15th, which is, I think, Jimmy, you're the only one still in the 15th. It's the 16th here now.
Epic Journeyman.
Yeah, as well. Yeah, there was a lot of mandates for vaccinations and jabbies and all that shite across the planet. It wasn't global, but there's some places in Virginia or in Africa, but here in Melbourne as well. So it'll be interesting to see on Monday who gets fired for not getting the poke. At the same time, last Monday, New South Wales had Freedom Day, but unfortunately, if you're not vaccinated, you have less freedoms. So it's basically Segregation Day. And Northern Territory, which is not a state, it's a territory, blah, 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 they have announced you have till November the 30th to get double vaccinated. These are all workers that deal with the general public. And if you don't, you'll get a $5,000 fine. So that's the latest where we're up to. And of course, there were protests today that I saw. I'm not really following them anymore because it's just rinse and repeat. However, you'll see them being shown on Twitter, especially sometimes on Facebook, but because of the censorship stuff like that. But Brisbane, which is the capital city of Queensland, which is the pointing bit on Australia, they had a protest, and the chant was "Wake Up Australia," because they can see where this is all heading. There's a clash between the federal government and the New South Wales government. One said, no, we won't open up to international travel, and the other one did. And so the Premier, it's like a governor having a challenge to the president for people in the US. So it's our Premier challenging the Prime Minister. And to quote a personal friend of mine who's a writer, it's a shit show. And that's basically what's going on. So what else? Victoria may come out of... they're going by vaccination percentages, so it's 70% and 80%. There'll be freedoms. I think we've reached 70%, so now we can travel 25 kilometres from our house, which is what, 10, 12 miles,
17 miles, something like that. Yeah,
something ridiculous like
so
that.
they're playing the carrot and stick game with you. Like the more people who get it, the more free everybody gets to be.
Yeah, well, I had played some audio. I'm gonna bring this to your table, and I'm gonna get your opinion because I don't know who this guy is, but he made a threat, and he's in Australia, and it's something called the Australia One Party or something like that. But I have to go and grab it real quick. Just give me a second. But there was another dude. Let me bring this up. There's another dude. He said he doesn't care about anybody. What he wants is a fully vaccinated economy, and that if you're not in that economy, he doesn't care about you, and he doesn't give a shit how you feed yourself or whatever. He says he doesn't care. You can go die. He doesn't care. He doesn't want you. If you're not in the economy, you're out of the economy. And you're, as far as he's concerned, you're a dead man. Go ahead.
Half of that quote, I'm going, oh, that could be, and then you finish the quote and it's like, well, that could be a number of people in charge here in Australia because they've got the similar thing.
Yeah,
it's interesting, and I'll just add this preface now. I figured it out, and please correct me if I'm wrong. The COVID shot, because it's not a vaccine and blah 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 and all that.
Right.
We're being lied to basically by the government. The COVID shot is, from what I understand, is to reduce the severity of said virus when you get it. You can still infect, and you can still you can infect other. You can get infection, and you can transfer it. There's transmission.
Right
now. But the government and the mind control and the NLP and all that stuff they're blaming the unvaccinated. But that doesn't make sense. If you use logic and science, anyone can get it and anyone can transfer it. It actually comes down to a personal choice. I haven't got it, and so if I do get it, I'll have the most severe from their understanding. But if you have the COVID shots, at the moment it's 2, but they're talking about a booster next year, and let's kick the can down the road that way. You won't get it as bad, and you'll stay out of the health system. And so the main problem is the governments have lied, and they've blown it out of proportion, and they're causing division instead of actually telling the truth. Which, that's probably why there's vaccine hesitancy with a lot of people, because it's like, well, you're constantly being pointed out that you're lying.
Listen to this.
And you've seen that with the footage with the protests.
All right, listen to this dude. And go ahead. Go ahead.
I just want to point out for the listeners that people maybe don't know this. I know you do, Monty, for sure. You're right there. And Keanu, one of our listeners, does, of course. He's there also, and some of our others. But your 7-day average is a huge spike, right? Is 16 deaths for your 7-day average, and in Australia total has 1448 since the beginning of the pandemic, right? Now, to put that in perspective, that if you multiply that out to the population of the United States, that's about 20,000 people. I mean, if you proportionally, right, compared to our 714,000.
How did we do on TalkStream Live? Because there's still like 500 people on Aftermath. Like there was still a shitload of people there when the show ended. So I'm just curious.
This is a hot topic, so
yeah.
Number 9, I think. No, 10. We didn't get as high as 8 like we used to do this rest of this week, but we got up to 9 and 10.
Yeah, that's
and we
good.
had a 9 o'clock drop off or midnight drop off.
Long as we were up there in the top 10. All right, listen to this, Monty. Listen to this guy. This guy is let's see. So it's AustraliaOneParty.com if you want to see who this guy is. And his name is QLD at AustraliaOneParty.com if you want to get a hold of this guy. Have him on your show. Listen to this fucker.
Speaking to the Governor General and each state governor, every politician, every public servant, every police officer, federal and state, every soldier, sailor and airman, every journalist, every priest, mullah, rabbi, mufti, every one of you. Those of you who have been on the wrong side of this, whether knowingly or not, you have one last chance, because after the end of October there will be no amnesty. This is a time to decide whether you stand with the people or the criminals. And there will be no amnesty after the end of October. You have this month to get it right, to come out publicly, either individually or en masse, and I appeal, and I mean with an open heart, to every one of you, band together, stand together, and be prepared to take the hit. Because come the end of October, there will be no amnesty. Your protection will evaporate, and you'll be crying like babies. So turn around. As I said, it's a 3-step process. You stop, you turn around, and you start walking back. But I beg you, every unionist, turn your back on the leadership. Band together, protect your families, protect the country. Because after October, it's done. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you putting in the time to pay attention to this. Spread the word, share the link, so more Australians and perhaps people internationally can watch this. Ladies,
Ricardo Bosi, B-O-S-I, Ricardo, R-I-C-C-A-R-D-O, Bosi, B-O-S-I.
Now, is he for or against the jab?
He's against. He's telling them. He's telling them, stop doing it. You better back up and you better undo it, because if you don't, you got till October, till the end, and then that's it, and then we're coming after you, is what he's saying, and there won't be amnesty. It sounds to me like he's saying no prisoners, man.
How is he
already
enforcing
on?
Oh, sorry, Bruce. How is he going to enforce that? But anyway, Bruce, you're still connected to Canada, and Canada's got its own unique way of what's going on. It's the same level of stupidity, but it's very Canadian compared to the Australian.
Yeah, Justin Trudeau is speaking about unvaccinated people the way Hitler spoke about Jews in World War II. It's really disturbing.
It is disturbing. It's about as disturbing as it gets.
But guys, it's on, okay? So if you follow the news, there was a British MP murdered in a Methodist church in Belfast today.
Yeah.
He was stabbed to death, and it was transferred immediately to the counterterrorism division. That fucker was killed for COVID. This is exactly what Cliff High was saying in his WebBots analysis. He said in October, you're going to start to see public officials, police officers, politicians. People are just going to start killing them, okay? And they say, this is my problem with the whole thesis here about the vaccine. And, you know, I respect everything that's been said tonight in the research, but if you think about it, it doesn't make any sense, okay? So what are the Satanists doing? Is this a murder-suicide they're going to do with a certain percentage of the human population? Because they can't fucking win.
Well, I mean,
And
who knows? Ultimately,
they're
ultimately, the goal or the religion, it's like ultimately the who's behind it question is always on people's mind, but really it doesn't make any difference. Who's behind it makes no difference because everything, the machinery is in place for it to move forward. So it's not disrespecting anything by not thinking any, look at the mark of the beast idea is just something that you can say. It's a rag doll that you can hang up in front of people and shake it because everybody knows what that means. Okay? Whether it is or it isn't, we don't know. We're not even saying it is, but some people are saying it. And because of that, there's some parallels, man. Hey, you can't buy or sell without it. This kind of shit. So the thing is, go ahead. I mean, I'm just saying.
It's I'm with Bruce. It's like, if you go too logically, it's like it's a lose-lose situation.
I've been saying this for well over a year now, maybe 2 years, okay? When people come out, and they're usually Christian, right? No offense to Christians, okay? But there's a lot of mind control in that religion.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? And, oh, this is the end. We're battling Satan. And I'm thinking to myself, well, Satan must be the stupidest fucking fighter in the world because he can't win. Here's the way to think about this, okay? There's going to come a critical mass point where everybody's going to know somebody who has suffered or died as a result of this vaccine. And when that point comes, what happens to the controlling infrastructure? Do they just slip into the underground cities? Like, what happens? I mean, they can barely keep it together now. They're going to replace us all. I heard in Australia, Monty, you can confirm this or not, but they've brought in thousands of construction workers from the Philippines and China. Is that true?
Not sure. I have seen reports that they're bringing in medical people in New South Wales because medical officials, medical workers have refused to get the jab, and so they're going to replace them from the loss from the system. I haven't heard the construction workers, but it doesn't surprise me at all because that's their thinking of, well, it's like certain politicians or ex-politicians, if you don't get the jab, you're acting like a child. But that's just a projection because they're acting like children. It's like, everyone should get vaccinated. Oh, but you're not, so it's your fault, and you're doing it. And if you don't get it, we'll fire you and make your life really hell. But there's no coercion, and it's free will, and then we'll replace you. And you know what I mean? It's that inversion that they're doing where it's calling us children because we don't want to have an experimental injection that we don't know the long-term effects from.
I'm going to sum a bunch of stuff up here, okay? And some of it, you guys, 3 of the people on the conversation aren't going to like. Jimmy, Rio, and Epic.
I'm here. I'm ready.
I know.
Go
okay.
ahead.
Now, I know you guys are really down on Trump. You think he was controlled opposition and a piece of shit and all this. That dude fucked up their timing. That dude fucked up their timing massively, man. He massively fucked up their timing. They're rushing everything now. There's no way. So the concept of critical mass is when the general public suddenly...
Hold on. Let me just... I'm with you. I want you to continue, but I just want to put this out there. I want you to just realize something before you... Listen, none of this would be even happening if it wasn't for Trump.
Explain.
Trump is the one that put us in quarantine. Trump said 2 weeks to the curve. Trump's the one that fucking made the vaccine happen. Trump's the one that pretended to go or went in the hospital, got vaccinated and came out and said how it great. Trump's done nothing but promote this vaccine since he left office. I would be willing to bet you he gets a percentage of every vaccine that goes in on every arm. He gets a fucking commission. That's how fucking tied into this shit he is. So whether or not he's a piece of shit, that's up to you. If you think that's bad, then he's a piece of shit. I don't know. If you think that's good, then he's not a piece of shit. I don't know.
I'm kind of with you on this one, Bruce. That he messed up their timing, but whether it was him or somebody else, they would still be pushing this plan because they've been working on this for the last 20 years. This is like nothing new. That Donald was the guy in the office when it was going.
They don't move anything. They don't move further down the road than they do when there's a fucking Republican in office. Because every Republican goes to sleep. They think there are guys in there. Bush has got our backs. Don't worry. He's in there. Don't fucking worry. Meanwhile, they ram this shit through, dude. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade.
Patriot Act.
Let's just call a spade, man. There's nothing conservative about George Bush at all. Okay, George Bush is nothing more than a fucking Republican in name only, man, a rhino.
Yeah.
And they're fucking neocons, man. Neocons. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with being a true conservative. So, I mean, all they do is put the masses to sleep. When your guy's in, the other guys are all over there fucking sneaking, doing shit behind your back. Because you think everything's covered. None of them.
Anyways,
dude, he didn't jam.
The point is, look, I'm not even sure Trump did it intentionally, but he did it just by being Trump, okay? And they lost a lot of momentum, and so let me query you guys.
Hey man, let me point this out. What happened? Right, the Epstein thing happened. Right, and then everything fucking came apart. Everything, because you know what? They were about to expose some shit. They were about to expose some stuff, and everything all of a sudden disintegrated. Our whole way of life. They were willing to pull the plug on it, man. And do all this in the meantime.
I think Trump did as much as he could within the framework of the law. He wasn't going to go so far as to take over the country like the Fuhrer or anything like that. But
I would.
Let's also. Well, I don't think so.
Epic hates Trump, man. He hates him.
Yeah, but also if Trump is an idiot, he's also got people around him. So, it's like him being president has fucked up the timeline, and you can tell because of the last how long's Brandon been in? I just like calling him that. Well, let's go Brandon. But in the 9 months that Biden's been in, and how fast he's destroyed it. I mean, I saw footage of in Italy. There was a protest crowd walking past the U.S. embassy, and they were chanting "Fuck Joe Biden."
Yeah,
this is the level we're at now.
Well, you know what this is, though, man. This is like, remember the show Bewitched? Remember there used to be one Darren, and then they changed the other Darren. It's like you're still watching Bewitched. It's just the Darren changed, and it's the same thing with fucking Trump or Biden or Bill or fucking Obama or whatever. It's just the main character in the sitcom is now fucking somebody else, and all you got to do is assimilate yourself to that new person. He's the new one. Hey, he's gonna be here for the next 4 years.
Yeah, but the people in charge of Bewitched were the writers and the producers, not actually the guy playing Darren.
Exactamundo, my friend.
So it's corporations and all that horse hop.
Very perceptive of you, my friend, from down.
Well, that's like, yeah. Well, people say, I mean, I wouldn't vote for Trump, but he was up against Hillary. So guess what I would have done? I'd rather Trump than Hillary.
So let me ask you a question, man. If you kill yourself with a bullet or a rope, does it make any difference which one of the two you use?
Well, yeah, because the bullet would be quicker. Because the rope, you can, knowing me, I'll tie the knot wrong. It'll take very longer. The rope would, anyway. But
the end result is still the fucking same, though, is the point.
Well, yes, but one technically one could be humane. I understand where you're coming from, and it's the comedian in me. I have to.
I know the sarcasm. I know it bubbles up.
I have a theory about this whole thing.
Go ahead. Let's hear it, man.
So I'm going to call it Operation Wolf Cry. And so the idea behind Operation Wolf Cry is to get people to distrust everything by crying wolf one too many times. In Operation Wolf Cry is a three-pronged attack for America, where it involved things like QAnon and Trump and this vaccination conspiracy. And the thing is, none of them are going to pan out. None of them did pan out. None of them are going to pan out. And what it's going to do is set up the real attack later on, because Q wasn't right. Well, the vaccine conspiracy wasn't right. Well, Trump didn't have our ass. He didn't save our ass. He wasn't really out there for us. He was just for himself. So, but if you look at it from the perspective of not just being a series of unrelated events, but a plan that was put in place, it actually looks like a plan. Think about it. It actually does look like a plan.
It does.
Right?
And you know what's interesting, too, is there's this 5-year open-ended, I'm not wrong scenario going on with this vaccination thing, too, because most of the people that are saying stuff's going to happen, they say it happens to you over a 5-year period of time or whatever. So the thing is, there'd be no way to know if people just randomly drop off here and there. So there'd be like no mass drop off where you could notice it, if that was the plan. But the thing is, man, is I personally know plenty of people that are vaccinated and there's nothing the matter with them. Nothing happened to them. They didn't go to the doctors afterwards. And so the thing is there's a lot of what's being said that is nothing more than a bunch of people making speculation and trying to whip up fear around a particular issue that happens to be going around the same particular state of mind politically, because it seems to be that Trump supporters happen to be the same ones that are a little bit leery, because Christians are leery because of the mark of the beast conversation, which is what we're having tonight. Because
that's also sorry to interrupt, but we're in the age of misinformation, because you would see just even the alternative world where something comes out of left field and it's like, well, hang on, you have to check. Used to in conspiracy world, you have to get 3 different independent sources and get everything. Now you have to sort of get up to 5, because everything that let's call them Team Dark, they'll be feeding misinformation as well. Like the whole QAnon thing. At the start probably was natural, but then it got taken over, and part of it, because they're multi-layered and they've got multiple plans, part of that psyop was to make anyone that challenges the narrative, oh, you're just QAnon. You know what I mean? They've just created that character. Awesome. And it's like, if you bring up anything that's outside of the norm, like, well, there's vaccine hesitancy because there's vaccine damage. Oh, you're just QAnon. I would have seen that on the TV. Like, okay, fine. Like, the whole ivermectin horseworm shit.
Here, let me tell you this. If you were into QAnon, or you did any, you're going to channels, you're going to websites, you're into that whole thing, let me just say, you're probably somebody that doesn't want to get the vaccine. So, number one, if you were ever mailed stuff or shared shit or whatever you're into QAnon, you've already been data scraped. They already know who you are, and they already know that you don't want the vaccine. So the thing is they can gas a whole agreement reality into thinking something. In other words, you thinking you shouldn't get the vaccine because you're going to die, or you're going to get a heart attack, you're going to have blood clots, or there's fucking nano machines in it or whatever, making you think that, because that's what's all over the alternative media, right? So then so then what does that do to you? That puts you in a position where you're no longer a fucking valuable or viable member of society anymore. So that puts you, well, I'm free, man, but you're not free because you're imprisoning yourself outside of society for a reason that you're really not even sure about. And information that half of the people that hear don't even have the intellectual capability to fucking understand. And they're
well, it's such a weird timeline.
Actually,
go ahead.
That's actually to close off the biblical narrative, Jimmy. That actually is the remedy in the Bible. Set yourself apart, leave the society.
Mm-hmm.
It is. You have to be able to follow through with it too. That's exactly what it tells you to do.
Well, I mean,
Be in the world, but not of the world. Right. That's exactly right. And you know, the thing is, and not a lot of people can actually do it. That's the thing. But if you look at Operation Wolf Cry as a disinformation campaign run by, let's say, the Soviet Union, Chinese, we're not saying that's what it is, but you could look at that testimony of, what's the guy's name, Jimmy? Yuri something? You guys all know this guy. That
Yuri
had his
Brezhnev.
interview. Yuri Brezhnev, yeah. That is phenomenal, man. That is exactly right. And if you look at this as being, for people who don't know it, he's a Soviet dissident who came to America, who was a colonel, I believe, in the KGB, and came over and told the 30-year plan, I think it was, that the Soviets had to ruin America, right? And
it was in the late 80s, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
He was surprised by how effective it was.
So
when in relation to what Bruce is saying, man, and it's what we say, at least what I say, it's not a prophecy, man. It's a business plan. So everything doesn't have to look like this either. I mean, the thing looks like this. Oh, that just happens to be patent number 606060. Fucking lucifernase. You can call it anything in the world, man. It's a fucking business plan. They just go, he's just like this. They just look at, get the marketing people on this. It's like, I need a name, man. I need a name, baby. And the guy comes back, how about this? Lucifernase. How about that?
And also, we are in such a weird timeline because I believe in the United States, the African American community strangely don't want to get the jab because they've had issues with the government giving out injections, even back to 1950. I think, and so you have in New York, I saw a photo. You had someone described, you had Trump supporters and BLM both protesting the vaccine mandates in New York.
Fantastic.
And it's like, can you imagine saying that sentence even 3 months ago?
It's fantastic, man. It could not be better. And you know, black people have a fucking really tremendous opportunity right now to help turn around this whole idea of what they're trying to pass as mandates. Because I'm telling you right now, if I was black, I would use this as a racist whipping boy. I would just say, I would go I'd be all up and down New York City saying, man, it's fucking racist. I can't get in this nightclub. Fuck you. It's racist. I can't get in this fucking, this thing. Because look at the demographic in New York. It's like 70 some odd % of black people in New York don't want to do it. So
because of like 70 years of data of the government fucking them in the ass.
Well, you know what? Black people are the original conspiracy theorists, man. There's nothing you're going to tell any black people about conspiracies about the government. They don't fucking trust the government. They never have, man. But they're willing to.
And with good reason.
That's right. You know, black people have been hip to this shit way before there was any Bill Coopers fucking on the radio, man. Believe me.
I'm a Public Enemy fan. I know exactly what you're talking. They're a bit woke now, but back in the 80s, they were quite. Anyway, I have to go. So
right,
thank you for allowing me to have a chat.
Thank
It's good to talk to you all. I'm still alive, and inside my house there is no tyranny, but outside I have to wear a mask. But that's my level. But I'll keep you updated with. It's just stupid. Like I'll leave you with this little tidbit. You're not allowed to have more than 10 people in your house. But the Melbourne Cup, which is coming up in about 2-3 weeks, the race that stops the nation, is like, no, it doesn't. The race course holds 100,000 people. They're allowing 10,000 people, but you have to be vaccinated with the passport. And I'm not hoping, but I can see COVID be a super spreader. And so, like, well, how are you going to see? That's the next thing with the governments when they separate the vaccinated and the unvaccinated, and vaccinated still get COVID. How are they going to spin that?
Do the original people, and I mean that original people, do they have to wear masks or get vaccinated?
Yeah, they are pushing for the max to the vaccines, and it depends on which state like in Victoria, you have to wear masks outside. New South Wales, I'm not so sure. Queensland, I don't think so. But it depends. It's all state related.
So you're saying
but they are pushing for the originals to be vaccinated as well.
Huh? What are they saying? Do they have a representative that are speaking for them publicly about what they think?
it's a small minority, but they're kind of being bribed by the government. Like, we'll give you $500 to get the jab, that type of, maybe not that much, but there's so much pressure to do it. So.
Is there a big problem with alcoholism among the original people because of the government subsidies of those people and this kind of thing?
There are still problems with the Aboriginal community. Yes, it's because they've been swept under the carpet, basically. And
so it's just they sound like they're just like Native Americans here. Native Americans.
Yeah,
here.
actually, Native Americans have a better deal because you can have casinos.
Yeah, but I mean, most of the Native Americans, they just live on, really.
Yes.
It's just,
Yep.
And
Yep.
the scene is horrible, and they'd probably, for the $500, a lot of people on those res situations would probably take the $500 because they need it.
Yeah,
And so,
it's another show, and if I actually do research on it, I will. It's not good. I'll just leave it with that. I could just go through a list. For whatever reason, Australia's multicultural, but we treat the original inhabitants like utter crap.
All right, let's
definitely
definitely do a show on that. I mean, let's do a weeknight show on that if you can. Let's talk about that in private, and I have some friends that can join us from down there too. So
yes.
Yeah. So I definitely want to do that. That'd be great. All right. So we'll see you, man. Thanks for being here, bro. We appreciate it.
I'm gonna bolt too, guys. I gotta get to bed.
Well, we should all probably head down the road pretty quick here, man. I need to get something to eat soon. Cause me and Rio's been working on stuff all day, so.
Yeah, I'm kind of fading.
Yeah, you
It's,
fade.
it's 4:30 here, so.
Yeah. So hey, so Sunday we will be live because I don't have to do my thing Sunday morning. So Sunday.
We never did actually play that video of the people scanning as they were walking through the thing.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure during the show. I couldn't remember if it was all just them being scanned or if there was something at the beginning that led into it. So I didn't play it because I wasn't sure what that first couple of minutes was going to be.
Well, for the people who don't know,
I can play that video.
You could just look this stuff up too.
Well, here I can play the video on the YouTube screen right now.
Oh, there you go.
So why don't you send it to me again? Because there's a bunch of shits in here, so I don't have to look for it. And then send it to me again, and we'll play it right now for everybody. Because there's 40 people here in the internet chat over here on our channel.
I gotta drop out, get ready to fly in the morning. But it was a great show, guys, and I'll catch you guys on Monday.
Hey, brother, we'll see you later, eh?
All right, catch you later.
See you then.
Thanks, Epic. Have a good trip. All right, so here we go. We'll do this. It's in the microcosm, Aftermath FM, and here is Aftermath FM Overdrive, and here's some extra. Read all about it. Stand by. I got to get this on the screen here for everybody who's listening on Aftermath FM. This extra podcast special after party show, and I'm probably gonna be
Are we gonna podcast the second half?
Yeah, definitely, because there's been a lot of great stuff you guys have been saying all night here. So I don't want people to miss out on it. All right, so listen, you guys ready? Here comes this video.
Vaccine is a microchip, and we're making it clear to the people this is the mark of the beast. Okay? The vaccine is a mark of the beast. It is not a vaccine at all. It is an implantable microchip. We had showed you in the previous video reading the QR codes. In this video, we're going to talk about its Bluetooth capacities, okay? So since 2020, in March 2020, we've been telling the people it's the mark of the beast. The vaccination is an implantable microchip. We showed you them removing the microchip from the vaccination site. Since March 2020, we've been making it clear this is a microchip. It's in the vaccine. This is ID 2020. This is the mark of the beast. Vaccinations, digital ID, ID 2020, mark of the beast. Okay? Now, in Greek, The word for sorcery in Revelation is pharmakia, where we get pharmacy. So the book of Revelations talks about pharmakia, and it is the mark of the beast. So previously we had shown you the QR codes. So people were able to get readings by a QR code, barcode reader on people's arms in their vaccination site, and they were able to get the QR code to come up on the screen for the device to read it. Okay, now in this video, we're going to talk about Bluetooth, okay? So we're being conditioned for QR codes with all the vaccine passports and the QR codes all the time. It's a social conditioning that's going on with the vaccine ID passports. It's blockchain enabled in the QR codes, okay? But we want to offer a possible explanation of what is coming up on the Bluetooth enabled devices that is an IP address, okay? So you can see we're being conditioned for a QR code in the QR code system with the passports and everything else. It's going to be fully implemented, but the Internet Protocol 4, version 4, IPv4, there wasn't enough capacity. So there's new capacity in IPv6, okay, to condition every single human and every human a barcode and microchipping them, okay? So now it's possible, all right? This could be it. I'm not an expert on this, but you can look into it yourself. This is IPv4, and that is possibly what is coming up on the barcodes, or not on the barcodes, but on the readers of people's Bluetooth when they pick up the vaccinated around them, okay? So that's what you're going to see in this video. We're right here, guys. I apologize that it's all in different languages and not in English. This is just what I could download from BitChute to show you what's going on.
I was not feeling so good on Thursday. I had to take the day off.
Does it hurt? Like, what is that really what they say it is? Like on TikTok?
Yeah, it's not. It didn't hurt, but I got a fever and chills and stuff like that. I wasn't feeling good.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. and a little bit sore, but now it's good. Now it's good. It's last week. The only problem is that everywhere I go, everything is trying to connect to me, man. Like Bluetooth connectivity.
What do you mean?
I got Bluetooth connectivity. I get in the car, my car is trying to connect to me. I go home, or my computer is trying to connect. Like my phone is trying to connect. Like everything all the time.
How do you know they're trying to connect to you? Like
because I keep getting this bloody notification. Check this out. Everywhere I go, I keep getting this notification all the time. It's nuts.
Here with AstraZeneca, what the fuck?
yeah. So I keep saying cancel. No.
And what happens if you connect to it?
I don't know, man. I didn't try it. I'm scared.
Hey, everyone is asking how you're doing.
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's not me that they're asking about. It's you. Are you feeling okay? What about the connectivity? How is that
the
working?
connectivity is still there, man. I don't know how to turn it off.
Yeah?
Yeah. Check this out. See that TV over there?
Yeah?
Okay, if I walk up to it, it's gonna try and connect to it. Watch this.
That's a cow, man. Let me see.
There it is. What? Yeah. Everywhere I get the same message.
Is it just this TV?
Nope. I walk away. Goes away.
Oh my god. And you don't feel any vibrations in your body? Nothing?
Nothing. All good.
Ahora estamos buscando un dispositivo.
Para ahí lo apago el Bluetooth.
Apaga el Bluetooth, está apagado. Ahora está activado, ¿no?
Mi compañero se vacunó con la Pfizer el 21 del 5.
Estamos buscando un nuevo dispositivo. Había aparecido, pero ahí apareció. HBPC
J43 con la Pfizer. Celular pesado, iPhone 11.
Un celular pesado, pesadito, y cuando uno lo levanta sale un efecto ventoso.
Tremendo. ¿Y qué pesa el celular?
Soy yo, Gerardo Álvarez. Acá estamos en la médica con mi compañero. Y no es joda esto.
¿El chip es realidad o son mentiras?
Je suis sûr que si je demande à ces gens s'ils sont vaccinés, ils vont me dire oui.
I think if you skip a little farther up,
скорее всего,
there's
что
more video of the
мы видим
people
iPhone,
actually getting
мы видим
the connectivity, the same serial numbers showing up on.
So I'm up here at like 14 something. It's more and more Pokemons around. That what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Here, I'll back it up a bit because I skipped in here. Here we go. Ready?
Là-bas. Là, il y a 2 personnes là. Je suis sûr que si je demande à ces gens s'ils sont vaccinés, ils vont me dire oui.
Бабушка, которая сидит, она, скорее всего...
So it says, so the number is 77, this old lady's chip ID number.
Что она? А вот еще номер, значит, там еще одна женщина сидит.
And here's another number. It's another lady sitting there. So he's picking up other people on his phone.
Кто-то сзади подходит, да? Ну, это молодые, Танюш, нет. А вот тут передо мной сидит бабушка. Вот Huawei, мимо, за мной...
So it sees another, it says Huawei P Smart 2019. Stand by.
Таня, Huawei P Smart.
So now they're going to go...
that's somebody's phone.
Yeah, so now they're going to go someplace else, they say.
Видишь, да, покажи твой дисплей, какой у тебя. Вот, ты видишь. Видишь, остальные для тебя...
In this, he actually walks into a building where they have the 5G and the Bluetooth enabled thing going, and he starts every time he walks past someone, like somebody new pops up all over, like there's like 20 people in the building.
Let's check it.
Новый. А вот тут мы с тобой видим.
It's that 77 number. It's not those
вот
phones.
Бабушка. Вот, смотри, вот F6F. И вот смотри, ты видишь, Huawei прошел, смотри, Huawei больше нет, Huawei ушел. У меня тоже появился. Вот, а вот тут, вот мы видим с тобой 2 вот таких вот шифра. Перед нами у этой бабушки, у нее может быть какой-то крутой гаджет?
So they're calling people Pokemons.
Пойдем сейчас еще на площадь
they're calling people Pokemons, which is interesting, no?
Yeah,
that they rolled out Pokemon just a little bit before this happened. Remember that? That's interesting.
Well, that's part of the whole augmented reality thing, too.
That's trippy, man. It's really interesting.
Так, мы сейчас с вами находимся перед банком. Смотрите, значит, здесь у нас новые покемоны. Значит, у нас опять мы видим iPhone. Мы видим вот это вот. Вот, смотрите, 1, 2, 3, 4 покемона. И здесь 4 человека у нас. Так, Таня. Так, 1, 2, 3, 4, даже 5 покемонов. Там кто-то вошел.
What'd you say, Rio?
She had 3 more of them on the bottom of the phone now. But there's this one, the one that's coming up is this guy's going to walk into this building and he's going to demonstrate, like, as he walks people.
Chiedo scusa, buongiorno, chiedo tanto scusa, signore. Posso fare una domanda? Siete tutti vaccinati? Perché i vostri vaccini si vedono proprio da cellulare. C'hanno un sensore dentro, perché io posso identificare, eccole. Даже не реагирую.
So there is something everybody can do when you're out in public. Turn on your Bluetooth and see if you see these numbers and letters, these IP address come up. This is the Mark of the Beast. The Mark of the Beast has the name of the beast, which is in the vaccine, luciferase. And there's other things coming down the line potentially, okay? The luciferase in the quantum dot tattoo. Many people say, well, it's not on the right hand. Well, the people are being conditioned with all these booster shots and everything else. So once the next thing comes along and they say, oh, well, we can't prove the vaccination because they're forging it, so now you got to take the stamp. Well, now you got your stamp. It's going to, have all the vaccination records and the bank information. It has the number of the beast, 666, the cryptocurrency system. So guys, try this Bluetooth-enabled vaccine thing. It's fascinating. See if you can get this to work. Let me know how it goes. We'll have more information and videos on the fact that, yes, this is the Mark of the Beast, and it is a microchipping of the people. Thank you.
Ok, je vous montre quelque chose. Ça, c'est le Bluetooth qui est activé sur un Android. Ça marche pas sur iPhone, ok? Android, j'ai activé le Bluetooth, ok? On voit Fort Scott A1. Et je suis devant un hôtel. Je vais pas donner le nom, ok? Donc, Je vais rentrer dans cet hôtel. Et je vais vous montrer un truc de malade. Hello. Ok. Ok. Donc là, il y a des gens dans le lobby, ok? Il y a des gens. Je vais balayer le Bluetooth maintenant. Okay.
He's searching for Bluetooth. He just got in the building and went down the elevator. Now he's searching for Bluetooth. There's 2 things on his phone already. Now he's searching now. He's looking for active Bluetooth.
Appareil. Si j'en ai un là, j'en ai 2. Regardez ce que c'est. C'est rien à voir avec des... Ce sont pas des appareils genre, je sais pas moi, le Samsung de X ou Y. Vous savez ce que c'est tout ça?
56,
Tout ça, c'est les gens vaccinés qui sont là dans le lobby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I don't see the same 77 number yet.
4, 6.
No, that was a different person.
12 personnes. Et vous avez le
No, but what I'm saying is he's seeing Bluetooth devices, but all the IP addresses are different. It's not like the other one had that 77 signifier on it. And these have all different ones. Look, it doesn't mean, what I'm saying is,
They may not necessarily all be people either, but the fact that when he walked in,
they're each person's Bluetooth device too. It could be. But you see this first number? You see there's 58, the 51, 58. They're all different. There's one, it's like 70 something. The ones that she was picking up were 77, and there's no way to know, but these other guys said that there was a 77 number on theirs too. On the one.
The interesting thing about Bluetooth IDs is that every major company has its own starting identifier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, if here, I'll got my phone in my hand. I'll look at my phone.
Let me keep going here and see if I see that 77 number. See these numbers here. There's a 78 number.
All right. So, like, my Wi-Fi address and my Bluetooth address both start with 4033 because that's Apple's identifier for this generation of phone.
So let me see. So now he's picked up something
Ok.
here.
Là maintenant, je suis dans le restaurant.
Here. What is
Ok. Ça, c'est des gens qui ont été vaccinés. Expliquez-moi pourquoi. Est-ce que si
He's asserting that all those are vaccines.
me disent certains soi-disant complotistes, s'il n'y aurait pas de nanoparticules ou je ne sais quoi, s'il n'y aurait pas de problème avec le vaccin, pourquoi je me retrouve avec tout ça là? Ok? Là,
Okay, hold on a second. He had something there on his phone. I want to look at it. I want to look at what he had there. Hold on a second. He's got something on his fucking phone. Hold on. You know what? Let me slow it down. Hold on. Let me slow this fucker down. He's got something on his phone there. All right, hold on. Let's check it out.
gens qui ont été vaccinés, expliquez-moi pourquoi. Est-ce que si, comme le disent certains soi-disant complotistes, s'il n'y aurait pas de nanoparticules ou je ne sais quoi, s'il n'y aurait pas de problème avec le vaccin, pourquoi je me retrouve avec tout ça là? Ok?
I was listening to what he was saying and I wasn't paying attention. Sorry. Hold on.
He's speaking French. So.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's weird because the last couple of days I've been sort of being able to understand languages that I don't understand.
S'il n'y aurait pas de problème avec le vaccin, pourquoi je me retrouve avec tout ça là? Ok? Là maintenant...
Damn it. What'd you say, Rio?
I'm actually looking at some of the numbers on his phone
Oh, you're
to see who's making them.
You're looking them up.
Yeah.
What does this say here? Hold on.
No matches found. So what's the next one? 5977.
Hold on. Let me go back. 69. Oh, wait a minute. There's a 77, but it's the second number. 6977. 5187.
You only need the first six. 697770. No match found. So this is not like he's picking up a phone from a major company. Because like if I put in the 40331A, 40331A, which is what mine is on my phone, it says vendor Apple.
So if you just randomly type yours in, which you know it is, it's the Apple identifier. All right, this is what I wanted to see right here. Let me see if I can stretch this on OBS so we can read this fucker. What does this dude got on his screen right here? Says, looks like it says activation of Bluetooth, eh? Okay. All right, well.
The activation permits communication between you and other Bluetooth devices.
Okay.
That's basically just a notice.
All right, well, yeah, no, I wanted to see what that was, because it was prevalent on his screen and having to do with him snipping out these other devices. All right, let's take a look and see what happens here.
Ok. Là maintenant, je suis dans le restaurant. Donc là, je me mets à un endroit où il y a plus grand monde, ok?
He sounds drunk.
Parce que c'est pas l'heure du repas.
He's French.
Je relance.
Dude, Soylent Green is people.
Yeah, no doubt, huh?
Yeah. All right, listen, we gotta go, man. I gotta eat.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
dying. Starvation's like across the desert. All right, hold on. Trying to get rid of this fucking screen. All right, there we go. All right, man. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll see you Sunday morning for Wake and Bake. We're probably going to talk a lot about these people that wrote hits. I mean, they used to go through a whole scientific process with like fucking 100 guys and playing shit over and over and over and over and over again just to get it just exactly right.
Oh, you're talking about old school writer, not like the two guys who write every hit song that's on the radio nowadays.
No, I'm talking about having to have engineers inside rooms and guys and all this shit. I was watching some stuff today, the old Beatles recording Come Together or something. And it's just a trip, man, to see how much time they spent just on one song.
Well, yeah, you don't realize it, but when they release these collections of stuff, and you see that there's 77 versions of the same song because they recorded it live, one shot, one take, and if they didn't get it, they did it again until they got it.
Dudes write songs and put shit together in 5 minutes now because of the computer, because of what you're able to do. What it used to take fucking, like I say, it used to take a whole team of 20 fucking guys sitting there trying to get the right sound, the right microphones, hanging shit just right, making sure the sound's deadened, engineers, all this shit. And now
that was big with Boston, the band Boston.
Right.
Every one of those tracks on that album is performed completely 100% live in the studio as you hear it on the record. That was their whole goal, is to do it perfectly with no engineering.
Weren't they the ones that got busted for fucking playing that shit over the speakers, though? I'm pretty sure they were busted on stage fucking playing shit. We could
Boston? No.
Yeah.
No, they did live. They were really a tight band.
I'm pretty sure they got busted for lip syncing.
Really?
You should look into it. Let's look
I,
into
I
it.
will look into it. That
All
would
right.
be interesting.
All right.
I mean, that would be a new one on me. But I mean,
Man.
I know as musicians, they've
Dude,
got it.
my
together.
name's Jimmy, and I tell you, I know where the conspiracies are.
That's right.
We'll see ya Sunday morning. Wake and bake.
Good night, everybody.
Inside your head.